just showing where we're at today. So we are finishing this. Hopefully we'll be starting Skeletor at some point today. And Kenny will be joining us shortly. So if you're here joining us, please say good day in the comments so we know you're here, because we can't always see who's here. My friend Kenny. How are you, Kenny Calderon?
Lord Will of the Clan Clayton.
How's your week been?
It's been productive. I can't complain. Busy.
Busy's good. Productive busy is
good.
Yes. Well, I'm going to say I had grand plans to get this done today, but life got in the way this week. Lots of artwork, lots of things happening. And lo and behold, here I am once again with my manatarms as I left him last week. So
it's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
We endeavor to persevere. So. All right, we've got a few people in the room with us already. So we've got Andrew. Andrew, good evening. How are you?
Welcome.
We have Yvette. How you going, Yvette? Good to see you.
Always a regular. Welcome back, Yvette.
And Chris Borman.
Chris, the man, the myth, the legend.
That's the one. So welcome, everyone. Hopefully you've all had a nice week, and what a great way to finish the week off, by doing something creative.
Absolutely. Great way to start the new month. We're in March.
There you go.
Yeah. So if you guys are stateside, happy Friday. If you guys are down under, happy Saturday morning.
Yes. Where we go. I was just saying at the beginning, Kenny, that there's a high chance that we might get to the point of discussing our next one on our list, which is Skeletor.
Yes, indeed. Very exciting.
Do you think you'll be very far away on this drawing to get to that today, or you think it might
be no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, really, I'm just laying in line work at this point. Just finishing up this leg here. Some key areas on the inside here where we get like some of that shadow being pushed around Duncan.
Yep.
Some fine lines around the sword. Just little. It's really just the polished portion
today. Right. Yes.
And yeah, I mean, we can mull over some ideas for composing Skeletor.
Cool. All right. Well, you let me know when you're ready to transition to that, because I've got a screenshot with the original illustration ready to go.
Sweet.
And then we can have a play around with live sort of poses and compositions. And I remember we talked last week about opening it up to people too, and what they thought about a dramatic pose for Skeletor.
Right.
And I think as we move through our list, I think we're going to be a little bit dependent on that, because we're going to be reaching for different poses sooner or later as we move through these characters.
Well, yeah, because Skeletor, I mean, Skeletor is just one of those characters that, like, there's only a short list of ways you can depict Skeletor, if not in battle, right?
Right.
So for those of you that are just joining us, Will and I have contemplated, putting Skeletor in front of a cauldron, conjuring up some magic or something,
Yes.
Something that is inducive of the character, right? And the way he would be depicted in the source material.
Human sacrifice. I mean, all of that. Happy Saturday morning cartoon stuff. just a bit of light. Just a bit of light sacrifice. Just before Care Bears came on, human sacrifice.
Speaking of Care Bears, right? Last night, Melissa, for those of you that don't know, Melissa's my beautiful fiance. Melissa mentions to me about the old Care Bears movie that had
Oh
Drab
yeah,
City in it. You remember Drab City?
yeah, maybe. Yeah,
So
this might be something I have to go to therapy to remember. But yes, I think.
so I was like I remember watching the Care Bears movie and show with the Care Bear cousins a long time ago, right? But I didn't remember Drab City. So she's like, Drab City. It was a city that was completely in black and gray. It was all
Oh,
like monotone, and everybody talked in a very monotone manner, right?
right.
So when she showed me what Drab City looked like, I'm like, oh man, everyone talked like this, you know. And it was like, they didn't want to pick up the trash in the street because no one cared. And
Drabs.
and it leaned heavily into what made 80s Saturday morning cartoons so iconic in that respect,
Yes.
right?
Bizarre ideas.
Drab City. It was beautiful stuff. Maybe Skeletor making breakfast on a Sunday.
Ah,
So now I gotta ask, what would Skeletor have for breakfast on a Sunday?
so let me ask about Drab City, because were there actual Care Bears that lived in Drab City, or were they humans?
No, it was legit human people.
Ah,
Human people, right? And no one batted an eye at talking animals with pictures on their bellies.
and bright colors.
Talking lions and little
Right.
elephants and such.
Yeah,
There was the
like
one with the Care Bear cousins, and we're trying to get back to the forest of feelings, and and the people in Draft City like, so what?
nobody considered that it might have been ill-spent time in their youth in the 60s and 70s that was now
Yeah,
coming back to haunt them in the 80s. Maybe don't take the brown acid. Don't. Why'd you do that? Now you've got Care Bears everywhere in
true.
Drab City. So,
In Draft
so,
City.
so was Melissa saying she wants to see a picture of Drab City? Like, you're going to paint Drab City? Like, what was? Oh, that was just a fond memory.
No, actually, she had asked me a question, and I responded like because I was like focused on something, right? I
Yeah.
didn't respond with a whole lot of enthusiasm. She was like, "Wow, why are you talking to me so drab?" And I'm like, "Drab." She's like, "Yeah, like you're from Drab City," and then thus we went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, verily into the drab.
And it's one of the reasons why I appreciate her so much, because she reminds me of a lot of the things that I loved as a kid, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
because she watched almost as much TV as I did, right?
Yeah.
She pulls me back down that road of nostalgia.
Yes. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, Amy does the same. My wife does the same. She's, she was not the He-Man, but she was more the She-Ra. She was more the My Little, the Care Bears and My Little Ponies, that
Right.
stuff. I was more about the Saturday morning human sacrifice. There's a lot about how we grew up differently.
Saturday morning human sacrifice over fries.
over the Cocoa Pops and mild murder, and maybe and just like middle management dungeon operator. That's really what we're talking about.
So Andrew says there must be an Eternian equivalent to a full English. Sounds dirty. It sounds dirty. A full English.
I'm going to leave that one alone. See how well behaved I am today? Yeah, that's right, Evan. I don't even think I had your hands on the steering wheel today. We just veered straight off the road. into the
This
embankment,
is all-wheel drive, ladies and gentlemen.
floating down the river in a half-submerged car, screaming.
So I had a timer going for some topic, and it went left real quick today.
I think that's a clear reflection of the week we've had.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, verily. Half-submerged car, down the river, screaming.
Oh, man, that's great.
That's
stuff.
me right now. Not even on the freeway. Didn't even know I had to hold the wheel. I was just off the road.
So, but back to Aaron's comment. So, Aaron,
yes,
for all of us in the stream today, what is the full English?
Please say it's
yes,
breakfast, like English muffin. Please.
Yes. Inquiring mind for research.
For research purposes only.
For research purposes.
I'm not going to lie, I used that this week multiple times.
I used it several times.
Talking to people.
For research purposes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's good stuff. The full English.
What would be the Eternian equivalent?
Well, we need to know what a full English is first.
We could go different directions already.
Yeah, because then the definition, can go really.
I like to assume in the land of Disney that it's like an English breakfast, like English muffin. Is that what we're talking about? Please say.
Gotcha.
Oh no! Here we go. Here we are. We have
baked beans,
eggs, black pudding, white pudding, double pudding.
Oh, okay.
Fried eggs, toast,
or toast.
Mild stroke and a heart attack afterwards.
Okay. The Eternian equivalent.
Yes. Look, I'm going to say I grew up not so much eating that as breakfast, but I had an English mother, very much.
Right.
That was part of our diets. And I'm currently living on one artery. Google reminded me tomatoes and mushrooms are often in it. Yes. God bless you, Google.
Google reminded me tomatoes and mushrooms are often on it. Okay.
Yes.
So here stateside, when we use the word pudding, it's more in reference of like a dessert, but I know that like in the UK and I think down under, no, like when you hear the word pudding, it's more of a savory thing. No?
Well, I suppose it depends on your cultural background. Like my mum used to make bread pudding, which is, if you've ever seen that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a dessert.
Yeah, and but if you see in the process, you look at it, you think, well, this is how the zombie outbreak happens. But it's pretty sure this is how it all ends, Mum. Great. But that was never my experience on a Saturday morning. Saturday morning was like cornflakes or Cocoa Pops and cartoons.
That was my thing too.
Yeah.
I would get really, really early. I'd probably take like one of the covers off the bed and lay out on the couch, pour myself a bowl of frosted Rice Krispies, and I would park it until about 11, 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Park the bus. We're here. No one's moving. So to answer the question, because we've made a great solid start today, completely random, and it's like one long YouTube ad in our brains. But to answer the question here, an Eternian version, an equivalent to a full English.
Okay. I want to say maybe eggs from the sorceress's hawk.
Right.
Wow. Maybe like an eggy in a basket kind of deal.
Well, did the hawk have a name?
You know what? I
Wasn't
don't
that?
remember.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Look, I've got a deep dive already. I've got to have to. This is like watching the wrestling. I've got a deep dive to find out what the Hawk's name is. Let's see. Mistress of Castle Grayskull? No, not that. Where is it? I'm sure it had a name.
No, it definitely had a name. It definitely had a name. Let's see. The sorceresses. So Andrew says, as a kid, he thought Yorkshire pudding was a dessert. Andrew,
We used to have it.
You're not alone in that. All right.
Yeah, we'd have it with a roast dinner.
One of my
with
guilty pleasures is watching Gordon Ramsay in like Hell's Kitchen and watching his reality shows primarily. I love Gordon Ramsay, and I like cooking shows. So watching him like kind of insult other chefs and like read them the riot act about English cuisine and stuff is like it's something that I kind of get off on. It's great. So yeah, I assumed that Yorkshire pudding was actually a dessert.
No, well, it's I suppose it's similar to in America where you have biscuits with your dinners.
Right.
It's where it's like almost like a baked side dish, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, with your large dinners, yeah. But I guess we have a Yorkshire pudding, which is very, very traditional English sort of thing to have.
Indeed.
Where is this hawk? I'm looking. I can't find the name of this. Did we just go through like a time slip or a Mandela effect where we remember the hawk, but no one else remembers? It's not on Wikipedia. Tila. Yeah, live art stream, everyone. No one's actually painting, but no one. I don't know. I can't find it. If anyone can find it, that would be amazing.
Yeah. What was the name of the sorceress's hawk?
Yes.
From Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
That would be quite helpful if you guys can figure that out. Chris says, "Hey, Will, the area that you are working on is under the posted comment. Can you adjust the camera?"
No. No, you know what? It's not under the camera. It's just that I'm looking up online. I can't look. I can't even find it. I'm giving up right now. Let me. There we go.
Andrew says they had horses, so the French could whip up something out of that. Jesus.
We're off to a running start, everyone.
Jeez.
A running start. Out the gate, running. Oh, dude.
I'm gonna try and bring it back. So, as per what we talked about last week, Will, I'm gonna add some deeper shadows here, along where the helmet meets Duncan's face.
Oh, that was our post show.
Yeah, that was after the show. Yeah, that was after we wrapped. So I want to get some nice blues and purples in there.
Yep.
Just so that we can
push it back a bit.
Yeah, push it back a bit, and it helps pop out Duncan's face a bit more. I'm noticing.
Yeah,
which is very good. Get in here with this round brush before jumping in there with the quill.
Perfect.
I don't like that sort of critiques that are just making fun of people. I would not have made it at art school for critiques. Spent a minute in engineering and same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember it's really it's a learning curve of how you can be. It took me a while, like, to be resilient towards that stuff, because my style of art was never liked when I was at uni, because it was too traditional. People wanted, when I was at university, they wanted conceptual art, because that was what was going to draw the university attention. If I ever made it in the art field. So for me, they were like, "Oh, who's this guy that's doing stuff from back in the old days that no one cares about anymore?" So, but it's once you stick to your own, I just stuck to what I did and what I do, and you just learn those skills of being able to negotiate around those kind of negative comments. Because I guess I had my own narrative of what I needed to do. Like, it was running in the head all the time. I was trying to figure out this and figure out that, and work out how to make the form move, and how light and tone worked, and how did they do that back then. I was trying to work that out. I was less concerned with, their comments about the conceptual mind of putting an egg on a pillow, and that illustrates the birth of humanity. And that stuff really didn't jive with me at all. But it was, certainly an interesting test of your own mental, the walls that you can put up to hide, to shield it, I guess. Does that make sense? How did you deal with critique, Kenny?
On the chin, right? Because everyone's gonna have an opinion.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I had my opinions, especially in high school, because I noticed that a lot of the kids in my art class, they were following trends, they were following fads, like artistically.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
they weren't without talent. They were very, very talented, right? But they were caught up more so in trying to imitate something that was popular.
Yeah.
As opposed to, kind of carving their own path.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I was open to it, because, my art teachers, those that were like really showing me something that I didn't already know for myself.
Right.
When I would attempt something that I wasn't familiar with, they would give me some genuine credit, some genuine like criticism on how to, get better. And that's how I would always approach it, like, moving forward. At the end of the day, iron sharpens iron. You know what I mean? Who better to give you a critique, about how you're doing things? Who better than a fellow artist, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I would take critique from you. I would take critique, like guys that I know, like, do this.
It becomes I guess it's like any field, isn't it? It's like any field where you decide, who are my teachers? Like, who am I really allowing into my mind to propel me forward? And I guess when I looked at the ones that were ripping into my stuff, they really didn't have any. If they had ripped into it with some level of integrity from what they were doing, I could say, right, I get it. I can see what you're doing. I'm learning from that. But it really depends how you interpret it, and what it is you want to learn from what they're saying. Their background to me was like, I didn't really care for what they were doing, so it didn't bother me, But the old iron sharpens iron stuff is a great one, like it's symbiotic.
Absolutely. Like,
Dre Studio says, be a creator, not a follower. Yes.
That's it. That's been my philosophy moving forward. If anyone's going to critique me, it would be someone that would be in my field.
Yeah.
Because and it's not to insult anyone that's watching, or anyone that'll watch this later, but for for someone who doesn't do this, even if you do it for a hobby, even if you do it for, like, for a living to pay the bills or whatever. For someone who, like, if it's someone that doesn't do this and they attempt to critique, I just feel that at that point it's just a matter of taste, and it's subjective after that.
Right. Yeah.
But someone who does this, even on a hobby level, like, you're somewhat of a student.
Yeah.
So there are going to be things that maybe I do that I'm not seeing that you're going to catch, and vice versa. Or maybe there's a way that I can apply my paint a little more effective, or what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm more open to accepting critique from someone who does this than someone who visits this. If that makes sense.
I will take everyone's opinion on board, but it doesn't always go in. It doesn't go into the inside of the walls of my brain unless it's really something that's like it's I treat everyone's opinion valuable. Like if you don't like it, that's cool. Tell me why. But it doesn't affect really what I do unless it improves the way I do things.
Right.
Like unless I'm sitting there going, oh well, I can see, I can see your opinion, and I can see that what you're showing me can move me forward, or are you just spitting out venom to see where it splatters? So,
True. Then when you hear enough critiques, like you start to, I guess, identify what the differences are. You know what I mean? When they're being constructive about it versus when they're being malicious.
Yeah. Oh, Yvette's come through. Yvette. He's got it. It is Zor. Zor is the
I love
Falcon.
it. There it is.
I need a moment.
Yeah.
Yvette. God bless you, Yvette. That would have been like, I would have been up till 3 a.m, and then it would have just come to me like, it's Zor.
It would have messed with me tomorrow morning while I'm like sipping my coffee, getting ready to go to my class, and I'm like,
get you in class.
I'd be sitting in class, and like, I got this one kid that's always asking me comment questions. He's like, Mr. Goody, how can I work with my perspective in this panel? And I'm like, what was the name of the bird? What's the name of the bird?
You're speaking out like it's the Ghostbusters fridge. It's Zor. Zor.
What's the name of that bird?
Why is Mr. Cole? Why is Kenny Coppertone saying Zor?
Kenny Coppertone. Oh man, that's awesome. I love it. Oh man. Oh, that's great.
That's your alter ego action hero name. Joe Ryan and Kenny Coppertone this summer. In a world. Okay, we got Chris Coleman. Stop when it came to criticism. As an adult, I'm trying to get us back on the road.
In a world with so many critiques. Oh man! So Chris said when I was younger, I was stubborn when it came to criticism.
I can't even read
it. No. Randy Bowen mentors me with my sculpting, and Scott Hanna mentors me with my sketches and paintings. I absolutely listen to what they have to offer to help me improve.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, dude. That's what you want. That when it comes to any craft, you can almost always expect some criticism on some level.
Yes.
Because it's like they say, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, right? So, but
again, no offense to anybody listening that does not have one.
Yes,
that disclaimer is just out there.
We apologize if you are one of the unfortunate individuals that do not possess an anal cavity.
An exit plan. If you don't have an exit plan, we're sorry for you.
But yeah, like when you hear it enough, you'll understand and be able to identify which are the ones that are being constructive about the criticism versus those that are being malicious. Now, that's why and this is another thing, right? This is another thing. Mentorship is super important.
Yeah.
When you have like that dedicated person that you can go to for questions and advice and such, that's worth its weight in gold.
Right.
Now, I didn't have a mentor, right? I'm the only one in my immediate family that like really went the distance with art.
Yes. Yeah.
Like my mom knew how to draw for a little bit, and she was actually really decent. I saw a lot of her drawings when she was in middle school. She was fantastic. But life happened. She had kids, and she stopped. So
you killed it. You killed it in her. Is that what you're saying? You destroyed that in her.
Yes. You
took the will out.
Or could it be that I absorbed it?
You absorbed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
She passed it on. Yes.
You absorbed it.
So I, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have anybody to like ask or like mentor me. You know what I mean? Yeah. My way of sort of navigating through it was just experimenting and hoping for the best. You know? And as I got older and I would absorb or rather observe other different art forms, like I grew up in Queens, so it's like the graffiti art, the Sunday funnies from the newspaper, and all of that kind of influenced the direction and the style changes that I would make.
Right.
So it's like, but for someone to have a dedicated mentor that can help them sort of navigate those waters, especially when they're young, that's crucial. And that's one of the reasons why I make myself so available to my kids, right? Like a lot of my kids have my personal number, my direct email. They ask me questions all the time, and they and even kids that were at one point in my class.
I think we've lost Kenny there for a bit. You've gone quiet on us, Kenny. Let's see if we can get him back. Kenny Calderon. Let's see if I can get him back. All right, so that was a shame because we were right in the middle of a good discussion then. We've lost contact. I'm sure he'll be back in a minute. All right, so let me just message Kenny, see what we can do here. Look. Just give us a minute while we sort this technical difficulty out, folks. Let's see. Oh, he's jumped out. He's coming back in again. All right, so while Kenny's gone on mute, and he's coming back in because we lost connection with him, we're talking about mentors, and yes, they are absolutely super. Yeah, that's right, Andrew. I think they deleted him. But they are crucial, and I think in a world now where the whole world is at your fingertips, there's so many opportunities to reach out and grab mentors from everywhere. Like it's such a different world we live in, which is excellent. So good. All right, so while Kenny's chiming back in, I am just starting to do a final pass on some of my dark areas around the skin area, which has been a little bit temperamental. I've got to admit the green is not always an easy color in gouache to work with because you're dealing with a lot of transparencies. So it can be a little bit up and down depending on where you are laying your colors. And often when I'm doing the highlights, I've got to add a lot of yellow to it because that helps to increase the opacities in the actual chroma, so you can actually thicken it up a bit, which is good. Because you're doing blues and greens, they can tend to sometimes be a little bit transparent. A little bit. Just messaging Kenny right now. I'm sure it's something net-based. All right, so just going to negotiate this around here a little bit. So I'm going to start to put in these green areas now, thicken up the waist area, and definitely making sure that as I'm moving around, I'm just reminding myself of the form and where that light source is coming from. If you remember last week, we talked about multiple light sources and how that has a cause and effect on your character and how you read the character. So for mine, I've got a strong light source coming up from that explosion down there in between his legs, and we've got a light source that will come down from up here. So I'm mindful of that the whole time, and I've got a little bit of blue reflected light coming this way. So we've got three light sources that we're juggling at the same time. That does become a little bit tricky at times, especially when you're dealing with a twisting human form. But you can kind of break it down into sections where you're starting to move just around each area. Like this is a bubbly shape on the abdomen, and you know, how's that going to affect those three light sources? Yep, Kenny's just messaged me. He's restarting everything because it was acting a bit weird. Like it must have had a similar beginning than we all had this morning. It's all off the road. All right, so for those of us joining, we've got a few people in the room today. I just want to say welcome to the live stream that Kenny and I run each week. And we are, at the moment, we are moving through the Masters of the Universe because they're super fun and colorful. And we are reinterpreting. There's a lot of abs for the old man at arms, Andrew. You're right. I like to think he's like one of those guys that I see on Facebook ads all the time where he's 60 but got this amazing exercising body that makes me feel mildly depressed at times. But yeah, so I'm assuming he's super fit, or maybe it might be the airbrush green tights that he's wearing. Who knows? It might be one of those t-shirt abs. Who knows? But as we move through our Masters of the Universe 52, we are up to number 4, which is Man-at-Arms. Next week, or maybe even this week, we start on our Skeletor. So, Andrew, so for his position, do you know where his muscles would be expanded, contracted, or you just freelance? I guess it's a bit of both, Andrew. Like I tend to, you tend to lean on what you know, not as in like I'm built like Man-at-Arms, but what you know in terms of what you've drawn and seen for years and years of doing it. Sometimes if it's an odd pose, especially with the back I'm not as familiar with the muscles. I will look at other, I'll look at some bodybuilder photos and just see how the muscles fold and bend. So there is that. Oh, and Kenny's back with us.
I have
Andrew's just asked us a good question, Kenny. So he's talking about our poses, and whether we just free roam with our knowledge or whether we actually go to reference for things. I figure out, Andrew, figured a lot of that early in the piece. So for me now, it's very much a case of I'm just adding tone to what is already there.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the battle earlier.
I do a bit of both. So
I have the habit of like pantomiming the pose in the mirror, right? Not to say that I got a six pack and like V cuts and all that, but just pantomiming.
But I do. Not to say that I do, but I do.
But like when you sort of like pantomime the pose yourself, you get a sense for where your muscles are expanding, right? Yeah. So like, for example, with the gesture that Will is painting right now, right? You can almost get a sense for those obliques on Manatarms' left side being stretched out as he winds that mace back. You know what I mean? and we're gonna get that stretch in the leg, that's supporting his weight, as he winds that hit. So in the case where you want your muscle definition to be accurate, what I do is I look at images of like swimmers, fighters, and dancers, because in all of that imagery, the body is extended and open, so you're able to get a really good sense for how the muscle fibers kind of key into one another.
Right. And strain, body strain. But yes. I guess I've chosen an odd pose in the sense that, yes, Andrew's arms are moving up. So that will, if he was standing up straight, that would probably flatten and stretching the abs out. But because I've also got this leg raised, it cause and effect with that, with the legs, the hip and the ribs, with that iliac crest there touching the rib cage, that tends to compress on that left side. So yeah, it's sometimes you overcomplicate things for yourself, and that's exactly what I do every time. Yeah, that's what I do. Just cause a rod for my back. My thing, I like the pain. I feel the pain.
There it is. Oh, it's pain. Oh, it's pain.
It's pain. Lean into it. I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure if it does, but
indeed.
But yeah, I sort of crossed that bridge early in the drawing part, and then it's really a case of my biggest worry then is, am I getting the color and tone right to make sure that those areas are jumping forward,
sure,
or retreating back. Depending. So, Kenny, are you crossing that bridge of starting to thicken yours up? Are you going to do that technique with the Skeletors? Because maybe you're talking about the goal. I think last time we were talking.
No, I'm going to play around with it, man. I mean, and I think I'm going to do it live with you guys on the stream, so that you guys can kind of help me workshop what Skeletor looks like for the next piece.
Nice.
Because I'll be honest, I haven't thought of a damn thing on how I'm going to depict Skeletor. I mean, it's like, you know what it is? My biggest struggle, excuse me, my biggest struggle is not having the art feel too vanilla.
Oh, what was that again? Say that last bit again. Not having
the art feel vanilla.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like I want something. I want the art to grab you. Like I want every piece that I do to feel like impactful, like it can hold its own as a standalone piece.
So I feel like if it's too vanilla, like
Okay.
it's kind of like you walk away from it feeling kind of meh.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm with you now. Yep.
So
I think that's all of our wants, isn't it?
yeah,
Like, isn't that what we kind of all want when we're creating something? Is for the piece to have an impact.
right. Like I was explaining to one of the girls that I work with that I'm kind of like teaching her how to just get comfortable sketching on a daily basis.
Right. Yeah.
Because she's a psychologist for children.
Okay. Yes.
And she teaches at the studio where I work at.
Right.
So every so often she'll be confronted with a situation where like on a technical level she doesn't know how to approach certain situations with the kids regarding art. So like I've been teaching her to like sketch, right? So that just like some technical things so that she can hold her own.
Right.
So I told her that the art isn't so like don't approach the art so much as like you just trying to draw something for the sake of drawing it. Think about the messages that the art is communicating to the viewer, right? Like it's got to be more than just you drawing like a hot dog on a piece of paper. Think about how the mind it's got to be like you got to think about it like no, because she was actually drawing a hot dog in the moment, right?
I love that. I love that. I was just thinking, how do you give that more? Automatically, I'm going to how can I make that hot dog have more impact?
Yeah. So what I told her was, it's got to be more than you just drawing the hot dog. It's got to be how the audience's mind experiences what you're drawing.
Yes.
So it's like, making the bun feel kind of pillowy, adding some hatching around the curves so that the mind's eye can almost feel, the curvature in the bun. And you know what I'm saying? Like it's all of those little things, all of those little nuances that you can add to such a simple subject that make it feel impactful.
It's the illusion. You create the illusion that your mind goes to when you're doing this.
Exactly. And it's and we've been doing this all through these streams, right? Because the little dents in the armor, what you're doing there, adding weight to the armor with color, making it nice and dense so that like the mind's eye can experience it more than just observe it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it sounds more I'm making it sound more complicated than what it actually is.
Well, I guess at a base level, I mean, isn't that what attracts people to art anyway? I mean, when they look at it, it takes them somewhere. Like it makes them feel something. And even though that's a very high art idea or high end idea for what we're doing, sort of pop culture characters, but it's the same method. Like, I mean, if you look at if you're leaning into what you love and just say all I do is I love Superman, right? And I want to look at a Superman painting and I want to feel like he's flying. I want to feel the power. I want to feel the honor and the personality of what he is, and I want to feel like that cape's flapping in the wind, and I want to feel free. And I think if that's what you are feeling, and you're not taken out of the experience by the artist's inability to portray that or to deliver that, then the art's won. It's one, and I think that's my journey too, Kenny. Like, and I know we both share that same sort of idea that, if we are toiling and battling away at something to make it so convincing that you're not taken out of the experience by my lack of ability to deliver it to you, then it's done. Then the art's done its job.
True.
So but that's always our battle, isn't it? And I think when you're not considering those things, you're not really paying service to the process,
right?
Because you are, the whole idea is that you want someone to connect with the art. Otherwise, why would we do it publicly? It's something that you do in the secret of your You have your studio, your basement, or wherever you're doing it. So
Like
you've
a
all
tribe.
got, yeah, that's right. We've all got these ideas of what we want to do. Andrew says, do I use the toys as reference? Look, I have an old He-Man toy here somewhere, and I have only because what I look for in those toys is sometimes how the expression is on the face. I will tend to look at more of the original illustrations. So if I've got the original Man-at-Arms one here, bringing that up the screen now, so you can see that's what I've used as my go-to, right? There are things on the toys that I'm using that I just like I like the little clips and things that they're funny little kitschy things that I will use on my illustration. But the original artwork is what I tend to do as my lean-to, because it's just, I just like the art on it. The toys itself, they don't always represent the anatomy and how I would want to do it, only because they're a little bit more stocky and stumpy. Did you find that too, Kenny, that the original toys are just a bit too stumpy in terms of, yeah, they're not quite as stretched out and lean as I'd want them to be, but yeah, it's more the illustrations I tend to lean to, and looking at some of the early illustrators that would also do He-Man. They're more my go-tos. Oh, I think Chris is suggesting that we swap poses for Skeletor.
Ooh.
So I do your Man-at-Arms pose, you do mine as our next Skeletor. That could be interesting.
I like it. That could be cool. I mean, because I can have you sort of like swinging the staff with the ram head.
Yeah.
Right.
Do that.
And maybe have one of the attorney and I don't know, like one of the guards from
Destroying one of the guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could work.
I like it.
And I'll flip it and do your one, and he could have the ram staff where your mace is, and his power sword where your sword is.
Ooh, and you could do something kind of wispy with like the magic coming out of the ram.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. The plan is forming.
I think Chris might be onto something.
Yes, indeed. I'm gonna start laying in some of the lines around the helmet. Now, my line weight around the helmet is going to be very, very thin, right? Because I still want to communicate a hue of light from the background.
Right.
But we get a bit bolder when we get into this area here around the helmet.
Yeah.
So I will be exercising the broken line technique. Once again, welcome everybody joining in on the stream. We do this every Friday, Will and I, and we're currently working through the Masters of the Universe Art Challenge. We are currently on, this is what, number 4, Will?
Yes. Yep.
Character number 4, Man-at-Arms, and up next will be Skeletor.
Who's after Skeletor? You remember? Let me have a look.
I don't remember.
Oh, my boy Stratos.
Ooh, very nice.
I'm going to bring up on stage the original Skeletor drawing, Kenny. There you go.
Good. Yeah.
Look at that.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. I think he's got flamulets.
Oh, not Skeletor being a little more highbrow than everyone else without the pelt.
He's got the flesh amulet too, the flamulets.
Look at that.
So both He-Man and both Skeletor have the flamulets.
I like it.
Interesting. I did always love that they whip out the old toenails on some of the bad guys and have like the leg sort of armor that goes only to the feet. It's like I couldn't get him any shoes. The shoes would not work with my 3-pronged toes. But I like that they're exposed. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool armor. Like almost like Roman legionnaire sort of. He's got the pelt, still rocking the pelt underneath it though.
Is it? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
look at
I
it.
can see it. I can see it at the
Still
side.
hanging out the side there.
Yeah,
Yeah, very cool. I'm excited. Can't wait for the bit of
he's
Skeletor.
got kind of a Beastmaster thing happening.
He does. He does. And I love the color. Just super cool.
Yes.
Now, how are you going to do his face? Because there've been lots of variations of the Skeletor.
I think I'm going to lean more so into the animated Skeletor.
Oh, okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
that you can, because what I would like to do rather
Yeah.
is get that big get that hood volume.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that I can play around with like the skull sort of like emerging from that shadow.
Nice.
In the hood.
Yeah.
As opposed to, just doing like a hooded skull.
I'll put together a little montage page like I did with Man-at-Arms, and we'll show it on as well. Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good good opportunity to kind of do something a little more ethereal with
yeah.
With the art. So, which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of like on the fence about what I want to do, because I want it to feel mystic.
Yeah. Okay. And we got Evil Lynn down the trap too, I think, in this first line. So
yes,
whatever you don't do on Skeletor, you can do on Evil Lynn.
Now, I think we're gonna see Evil Lynn before we do Tila, no?
I want to say yes to you, but let me have a quick look. No, we got Teal after Stratos. So we got Skeletor, Stratos, Teela, Zodak. He's going to be cool. And then we got Evil Lynn. Or if you work in a professional landscape, Evelyn. But that's okay. That's all her. And then you got the Bizarro of the Motu universe. We got Faker.
Nice.
And then we got Many Faces. What was the joke last week? It wasn't Many Faces, was it? Something like that.
What would his role be in a battle?
Many Face. I know. Well, what are you doing? You got Angry Face on. Okay. Cool, man.
How does that help us?
You got the angry face. Cool. Now you're going Joker face. Okay. But meanwhile, we got 500 guys running at us. That's cool, man.
Swing a sword.
Oh, you got lizard head. That's cool. You want to focus? Can you focus on what we're doing? I feel it's like he'd be like the ADHD guy of the group. Like he couldn't decide.
There you go.
He's distracted at which face he's doing instead of focusing on what's going to kill us in 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of thought went into just how practical some of these guys would be in a battle.
Because to be honest with you, I want that discussion. I want to be in the room when they're discussing that. I think they kind of found technology and they go, yeah, let's use that. Like they found like the Transformers, look what we can call it. We can make this guy. And like, because I guess when you think about it, like the biggest technology swing was having the body twist at the waist with battle action, like punching.
You're right, that it had that little snap. It would
snap
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Mechanic.
And we took right. Once you've extended and you've seen the battle from afar, what are you going to do then? What's your next move?
Announce the enemy's next move. There they go. Here they come. Watch out.
I see them. Well, we can't see them. Only you can see them. I see them. That's cool. He's like the brick handling off Anchorman. I see them. I love Lamp. Great.
job.
Great work. Great
Have
work,
a
Mechanic.
seat, you know, get a cookie. There's refreshments in the back. We'll take it from here.
He's cutting up the oranges for half time. But I mean, that's his job, running oranges out to the crew while they're in the middle of a battle.
Cutting up the oranges. I like it.
I just thought
He's handing out waters.
Can you stop for a minute? I'm just trying to. You're bumping the tray. You're bumping my tray of oranges. Can you guys just hang on for a sec? Oh, you don't like oranges? You don't want oranges? Okay. I'll be back in a minute.
That's great.
Oh, you want biscuits? Okay, I'll get some biscuits. Okay. You don't like fruit? Okay. Anyone else? Oh, you want ice in your beverage? Okay, I'll be back in a minute. I mean, snout spout still baffles me. Like, I guess he's still got like the pressure of like the nose hose and stuff, but you know, like, how do you compete against people like have giant claws and whipping tails and you're an elephant head?
True.
You know what I mean? Like, how do they go back the rest of their week when they're not like in a battle? Like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like
what
do you do?
What would his job? Irrigation? Maybe, you know.
But you got a human body.
He waters the plant at the castle.
And he is massively jacked, like he's on roids, like massively jacked, and he's got an elephant head. I just don't get, like, how do you date someone? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Now you're running around with an elephant head, or we're going, and a mechanical nose. Not even an elephant nose, a mechanical nose.
I think that makes it worse.
I think
that makes it worse. Because now in the downtime, you know, Man-at-Arms has to tune the nose up.
Yeah.
You know.
That's awkward.
Polish off the nose.
Like, it's just a quick left stroke. It's a fast.
Give him boots, but I'm not a multi guy.
I think it's a fast swipe on Tinder. Gone.
Oh, this guy's got a mechanical nose. Oh no.
He's got a dead eye. He's got dead eye. You know, he's just got that dead eye look at him in his face. I'm out. He's got to be into something weird because he's got an elephant head. Yes, all of that.
This guy's neck extends for absolutely no practical reason.
And it's mechanical.
Covered in moss.
Like, I had this weird. It's not even like Mr. Fantastic. He just had his. Like, someone built that on him.
Yeah.
Like the $6 million man, like Steve Austin. Instead of giving him running legs or an eyesight, they're going to give him a mechanical neck because that's worth it.
It's going to take him forever to swallow.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, how does the voice box work? Is it really loud, or is it deep, or is it just doesn't get out because it's too far to travel? Like,
is it in the helmet? Maybe. Who knows?
It's a weird helmet. It's a weird helmet. I don't know. It's just.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
there wasn't a lot of thought.
It's like the intern or the work experience kid invented that one. Like, who brought that character? Oh, that kid did it. The one that's been here for 5 minutes. He invented Mechanet. All right, put it in the mixer. Or it's like the boss's kid or something, you know? Like, he's got to have his design in there. He's got to have it in there. No one wanted to say anything because it's the boss's kid. But he brought Mechanet to the table. and then he did snout spout. Some of the snake men look cool to do. I like looking at King Hiss and Cobra Khan. Oh, they look cool. They're going to be fun. I'm even looking forward to Too Bad.
Same.
The Come Join Twin.
I mean, I'm looking forward to doing all of them, really, because again, it's not an IP that I'm very like used to doing. So I'm open to the challenge of depicting all of them in a really cool way.
Yeah. Even the weirdest of weird.
Yeah.
is gonna
I
be
think the weirder the better, right? Because we're so like used to doing the conventional stuff that a little weird is good.
We'll put it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at our first row, who do you reckon the weirdest? Like, Merman was pretty weird.
Merman was definitely weird. Definitely weird.
Off the meds, Merman.
Off the meds, Merman. He was definitely weird, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Like that head was very unconventional. He looked like he had like 2 pairs of hands, and googie eyes.
The old googie eyes.
But it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
So
what are you up to now, Ken?
I'm getting some of these fine details in his face with the quill and the ink. Sort of, pull out the eyes, get the old man stash nice and detailed, and the defined cheekbones a bit. And then I think I'm gonna finish off some of the accents with a bit of charcoal.
Oh, okay. Charcoal, interesting.
Yeah, a little bit of charcoal and some colored pencil.
Are you going to spray that with like a workable fixative because it's charcoal, or how do you seal it down?
No. I'm going to go in really like light with it. It's not going to be super heavy. Like it's not. It's more of a graphite more than a charcoal.
Right. It's a charcoal pencil, is it?
Right.
You're not dealing with the straight carbon out of the
no
crumbles everywhere.
Those things are super messy, super messy.
But it's super fun too. You get some cool stuff with charcoal.
They really are. But I think this paper's not as textured as as one would need it to be to like make the most use out of that.
Yeah.
Because this is more of like a vellum Bristol.
Yep. Yeah, it's not that forgiving. Yeah.
So there we go. That reads pretty well. Get some of the scowl in there, the old man scowl. And there we go.
Right. So let's.
What do you got going over there? What do you got going on over there?
The green. I'm out of the green at the moment. So I've just finished the hands. Let that settle. The arms are done. Abs are done. The legs are majority of it's done. I think just maybe one more final pass. Might go over it with a little bit of Prisma, just to smooth some of those areas out. As I do with the armor. But I'm just tossing up whether to do with the face or the mace. Deciding which one to do. Maybe the face.
Yeah. That what? That's the part that I'm looking forward to the most. Actually, 'cause I want to see how you render that, like using the green as a base.
Yeah. So the green is just that reminder to me that there's reflected light coming off his green costume on the lower chin area there. Right. So it's a bit of a reminder to me that there's another bouncing light source coming up there.
Yeah.
I suppose the orange would be as well. Andrew says, seems a terrible fate. If you had various body parts of an elephant, people might be curious if you had other less obvious parts that were elephant size. You mean like an elephant tail, Andrew? Like an elephant tail? Yeah. Yes. Like a little squirrely tail underneath you.
Let's keep it on the road. Let's keep it
like,
on the road.
Like Shallow Hal, we had a little tail.
Indeed.
Oh dear. All right, so I'm just mixing in a little bit of alizarin crimson with my. I've got a yellow ochre, and I've got. What else have I got? maybe a little
Now,
bit of burnt
do you
sienna
think
and raw sienna.
now? And this is just just a question out of curiosity, like for me, do you
Yes,
think that the yellow ochre might be too close to the armor itself? Like, do you think it would like get
yes,
lost?
it would, and that's why I use the yellow ochre just for mixing my highlight. So I
Mm.
put a touch of that in with the raw sienna when I add the
Oh,
white to it.
okay.
It just tends to get too creamy.
Right.
So I like the highlights to have a little bit of bronzing shine to it when the light's hitting it.
Because this is the part that I've been waiting for, like, since we started this, right? And I saw you like laying all your fills, right?
Yeah,
Because I want to see how like you like fill in the face and have it feel warm and have it bounce off of or like have it feel separated from the armor,
right.
right? Because he's got such a warm color palette that it's not as simple as just using like a peach or
Right.
or a lot of white with yellow ochre or brown ochre. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is the part that like I'm probably not gonna draw for a little bit, just so I can see how you
Watch me find it, lose it, find it, lose it, find it as I move through this now. That's
Yeah.
what usually happens. I'm just getting some paint on the palette if you're wondering, if everyone's wondering what I'm actually doing.
So
I'm just mixing some clean. As you can see, my palette at the moment is a bit of a mud. So you can sort of see I've got a bit of everything as I move through.
it's
And a lot of
you're
that is
preaching to the
because
choir. Preaching to the choir.
yes, and because
Preaching
it's
to the choir.
gouache, I'm drawing as I'm going, so I often have a new blob of something growing somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I just leave it soak in a bucket of water and scratch it off and start again. So
Yeah.
and I tend to use kitchen plates or melamite plates because they're cheaper than plastic pellets,
Right.
and they last longer, which is good.
Okay. Okay.
So ceramic plates or melamite is what I tend to
Right.
use. Right, so starting off with, I get my raw sienna, a little bit of burnt umber, and that gives me a nice sort of reasonably solid brown. And what I do then is I tend to, just to get myself comfortable, I redefine where my shadows are going to be, right? So I start to work in, I know, I sit where the comfortable areas are to begin with, right? And that just, while I'm doing that, my brain's calibrating to where this is.
Right.
And it's, so I can readjust my imagination to going, right, that's where the light source is. That's where that highlight is. That shoulder pad's really going to cast a bit of shadow.
Right.
But then it's probably not that light. There's probably not that much light coming back up still, even at his face level from that explosion, because the shoulder pad's taken a lot of that. So it's still going to be a lot of coming from the sun.
So would you say that you're not going to, I guess would you say that a lot of your light that's going over that shoulder, would it just hit the eyes?
Yeah. So
we're gonna
when
get like that
light's
shadow
hitting
like
that,
pushing upward from the mustache into the nose.
right. So the light source you see here on the face is not coming from below. It's actually coming from the sun that's reflecting off of his arm onto his face. So that's why that reminder's there for me. That is a reflected light. This area here will probably be a mixture of sunlight and the light coming up from the ground. So and I'm assuming at this stage, unless he's super sweaty, like he's laminated himself in battle.
Yes.
A lot of it's going to be very faint from the ground, I think, by the time it gets to his head. So again, so it'll be treated like probably the sunlight's causing a lot of that shadow area and highlights.
I gotcha.
So I've just got a little bit of white now. I've added a little bit of white to my raw sienna and my yellow ochre. Again, I'm very sparingly with the yellow ochre because it doesn't tend to like mixing with other colors because it tends to get a bit muddy and creamy. Whereas the raw sienna tends to have a little bit more versatility. So I tend to use the yellow ochre only every now and then when I really, really need it.
Right.
And as I move around the face, I don't do, because I'm using gouache, not oils. I don't do wholesale shadows, wholesale middle tones, and wholesale light tones. I tend to work through. I compartmentalize where I'm going, and sometimes that's where my learning happens. I'll get an effect and go, I'll repeat that because that works really well.
Right.
It's always fun when that happens.
Yeah. So I'm just adding a little bit of highlight. And I think the trap too, and I see this in a lot of comic creators, even professionals, is that they are too generous with their white. And what I mean by that is as they move through the face, they forget that when you look at a human face, there really isn't a lot of white highlight.
Right.
You know, like I know that's a tempting thing to do when you're using Photoshop is to make everything glossy.
Right.
But there's not a lot of white highlights on the face. And if you are sparing in how you use it, you'll find that it will have greater impact when you're using it just on a little bit of the cheek, on the nose, sometimes on the lower lip, maybe a little bit on the chin. And I tend to put a little bit sometimes just on the inside, when the eyes open, just above the tear duct area, because we have a little highlight there, and that will then, it tends to solidify that area and it links it to other parts of the face. Right. So I'm just kind of moving around now and putting that lighter yellow ochre in because that's where my base color is going to start with around the sunlight area. Just putting it under the brows. It's starting to wear off on the brush now, so I'm almost nearly dry brushing it, just moving it around. Now it's so thin on the paper that I can easily lay over the top of it and nothing's going to affect that. Right, so that's probably that in terms of just the base level. Now I'll get some of that green and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of Prussian blue because the Prussian blue is what I'm using in my reflected light. So let me just do that. A little bit of green and Prussian blue. They're nice. They're good friends. They're very harmonious together. And I'm just going to then sparingly sort of move up through the creases of his face here and give him a little bit of shadow work around here. That's why I think Skeletor is going to be interesting. It's just going to be that side of the palette.
Right.
Instead of the earth tones that we're using a lot of at the moment.
Yeah. Skeletor is going to be much, much colder.
The purples and blues, maybe a bit of magenta in with the magic.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm just moving into that, slowly just migrating into that sienna up there with that blue. And I'm moving in little circle actions because that will help me to control the blending up and down like that. Kind of looks like he's got a growing beard there happening. So as I start to move now, I hit it up with a bit of straight raw sienna. So while that blue's fairly fresh, I'll move into this now with the raw sienna. Now, in full disclosure, I don't often do green as a reflected light. So anything could happen. I think when you start looking at some of these orangey, warmer yellow tones, the green works well as a composite to the red in your colors. So
I got you.
It'll push it forward, and that seems to be responding nicely.
How would you determine what colors
you would use to layer on top of your fill color? Like, for example, if your fill is warm and you want to cool it, how would you determine which cool color to go with?
As in the face you're talking about, or just in general?
In this case, we could start there and then maybe like in general.
Okay. So with something like his orange armor, I would always go with a because of the because of the yellows or the reds. You could either go either way. I mean, with the orange, you could go with a cool, because of the yellows, you could go with a cool purpley color if you wanted to. With the oranges, you could go with a cool blue. I tend to go with the blues because I just like the color of that. And because I've got the green on there, the cool blue responds well with it because it's harmonious. I think whatever you choose to do, you've got to be reasonably consistent with it as you move through it. Otherwise, you throw your local color out. If you're moving from every single individual color, adding a different complementary color into the shadows, I think it just tends to jump it around a lot. Like, I'm not going to sit there and add in a cool red in his green skin in the shadows, and I'm not going to do that opposed to the cool blue. I mean, it's just going to muck around too much. I tend to choose one and stick with it for the one painting. And that tends to link all my pictures together, all my parts together.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. I do the same thing that, like, I used in this particular piece, I use a lot of blue.
Right.
A lot of like very thin navy blue for my shadows.
Yes.
But for like the He-Man painting, I used purple to cool those warm tones down.
Right.
So I'm like curious because like I've heard like from oil painters that they'll mix, like they'll take whatever the base tone and kind of like mix a cool tone into that just a little bit, just so they can get like the cooler value.
Yeah.
But I was like curious to see if it was like if you made that decision based off of like whatever the local pigment was, and
a little
then
bit,
sort of
and
like
sometimes it
play
depends on
off
your
of that.
environment. Yeah, and it's your environment too, like whatever's happening around it. Sometimes, like if it's in a dungeon area and you've got, you know, like when I did the cover for With It, I had two light sources happening on either side. That's always going to affect your shadow areas.
Sure.
Because you want something that's opposite to that flame that's lit up the body. So that'll change according to the area. But generally, if you're outside, it's very rare that I would use a green unless they're in, or a red to oppose the green unless they're in a jungle environment like Beastman. But you know, usually if they're out in the desert area, it's a lot of cool blues. Sometimes like the violet that you used. It just, I usually choose something that's in contrast to the local light color or the local color of the environment, because that will have an effect on the body. That sounds like a lot of overthinking, but it's not. It's just almost becomes instinctive when you start doing it for a while.
Right.
I don't sit there and contemplate with a cup of coffee at a local color. I just kind of do it and then kind of figure out, is that working or not, you know?
Right.
So what I'm doing, I've laid in some of that ochre now, just over top there, and it's given him a very much a dirty tan color. But that will then sit well with me when I start to put my highlights over the top, and it'll smooth out as I go. And I'm just working on some of those creases around his eyes, giving him that strain.
Yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll tend to put a little bit of that yellowy ochre just over his lips and work in some of that blues there as well. The tricky thing is always in doing some of those blue highlights in the moustache without it looking like a blue moustache.
Sure. Like he's got the Just for Men going on.
Yes. Why do they do that? Why? It looks terrible. No one's ever convinced. You know, you're 60 and you got a jet black moustache. No one believes you.
You know.
No one thinks, wow, he's held on his hair color at 65.
That old guy still got, he's got no grades.
He's
that
amazing.
Got no grades.
He's beat it. He's beat the aging process. Nobody believes that. Nobody. Everybody knows.
he's got great genetics.
But sometimes they're grey. I used to work with a guy who's grey. You turn that with jet black.
Yeah.
With the jet black. Like, people are paying attention.
I'm telling you.
Right, so I'm just adding my white now. I'm remixing white with my raw sienna and a little bit of the ochre, just a touch of it.
Right.
And that will give me a very much. I'm going to add a little bit of cool yellow in there, just for giggles, and that will tend to give my highlights a nice sort of impact. I'm not mixing up the lightest of highlights, more like my lightest tone. And now I just start to move in and put in some of these light tones down. This will allow me to pull out some of those edges on the wrinkles around his eyes.
Great.
As you can see, it's already starting to have a little bit of an effect there. And I just start moving around. And I've just got my brush just on a bit of a chiseled edge so I can get some of those areas done.
Right.
Do the same on the nose. And this is also, I need to remind myself now where the shadow line is for the helmet. All right, because that's going to cast a shadow over his nose. And I have given Duncan a little bit of a straighter edge nose than the original. The original comic, he had a very chunky little stubby nose. The original action figure design.
Right.
He had a strange face, the action figure design. I thought,
Yeah,
what's going on
really
with his face? Yeah. It's like he'd had too many punches to the head.
and I feel like he's not complete unless he's got the stash.
Yeah, he does look odd without the moustache. I did notice that they've brought the toy out now as a filmation version of He-Man with the moustache.
Nice. Yeah, he's got to have the stash. Because what is that? It's like it's not Man-at-Arms without the stash.
Without the Magnum PI moustache, you can just not.
Of course.
You're just not Duncan. So I've got to be careful here too as I'm putting in these highlights because I don't want to overwork it. And if you do that, you can end up with a very, very creamy mix with your gouache. Right. And that's hard to move backwards from that, especially if you're doing softer faces. Like if you're doing a child's face or like a Princess Leia or something where the tones are very soft.
Right.
You can end up with a magenta kind of mess. Well, not a magenta, like a soft rose kind of mess on the face. And that's happened. I've done it before. That's how I know.
Yeah. It's that's what this process is all about. Like you want to get familiar with the materials. You want to experiment a little bit. It's the reason why. Like I got into painting, like observing like the kind of stuff that you did and still do with the pop culture subjects that you painted, and it inspired me. I know I say this almost every stream, but it inspired me to want to start painting and expand the repertoire, as they say.
Yes. Well, that's the whole thing, isn't it? Like it's where we find those little gemstones in our week of, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I should say too, this is one area that I forgot to mention as a little highlight. I always put a little highlight just in the crease of that nose and the cheek. Just in there. And what that does is, number one, is it pushes a light tone up against that crease. Yeah. Because if you start, what you find is, no matter what the age is of the character you're painting, should you put those cheek creases in, they suddenly age like 30 years. Yeah. So you can avoid that by putting in light and shadow. And just depending on how much light and shadow you put in, will age or de-age your character. But the highlight next to the nose always allows you to say, well, that's where the end of the nose and the end of the upper lip area finishes. And that's where the cheek begins without having to draw a line there. Otherwise, your character suddenly gets older.
That's a great call on that. Great call.
I'm just going to do the same on the other side, but I'm moving the highlight right up against, close as I can to the bridge of that nose. So it doesn't look like we've got, oh, you've got a shadow there and a shadow there and a shadow there. You've got actually got light source playing up against edges. One of the questions I ask my kids in my classroom when I'm teaching them portrait work or tone work is, how do you create the illusion of form without using a line? That's one of the questions I put on the board.
You place light and shadow next to each other.
You got it, or color.
Or color, yeah.
So that's how we interpret things in life. But yeah, it takes a little while for the kids to get there. But once they figure out the law of tone and how that plays in art as an essential element,
right,
it's then they discover it. So I'm just noodling. I'm noodling away again, noodling away in this area. That I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm doing it. So I'm moving down there.
I'm interested. I'm interested in noodling because like this is the part in the painting that like I'm really, really intrigued with.
So I'm going to just jump sideways here for a minute because I've got that face starting to take form. I want to now do something next to the face, and that will then determine what my reflected light, how dense it's going to be, or my shadows. So I'm just going to jump sideways for his helmet. Now, Kenny, did you use this as steel for inside of the helmet?
Yes, as a matter of fact. So what I did was, for the inside of the helmet, I used, shoot, I forgot the name of that color. Give me a second. I have it here. Oh my goodness. My base was an ice blue.
Right. Yep.
For the helmet itself. And then I gave it a mixture of a bit of cerulean.
Right.
So I could get like some of that shape language in there.
Yep.
But for the shadows, I gave it a bit of lilac, a little bit of Prussian blue.
Uh-huh.
So I could get that curve, that folds into
Yes.
the strengths like we talked about.
Yes.
But yeah, I definitely went with like more of the steel look.
Right.
So that, you know, it is consistent with like, you know, his bracers, the belt, and the sword.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm doing the same. I've got a bit of Prussian blue. I've muted it down with some black. And now I'm sort of allowing the water on my brush to kind of feather it out a bit at the bottom here.
Right.
And even though I've kept it fairly thin, because I'll decide whether I'm going to add a little bit of orange to the bottom here as reflected light from the armor coming up.
Yeah.
All right, so just putting that bit in there just next to the face, suddenly it starts to inform me on how much more I need to build up on there with the reds as opposed to the other side, right? So see how blank that is. Sometimes you can work up a face and it's almost going in the wrong direction unless you start to build these other elements around it, because that's that cause and effect we talk about.
I see. Yes.
So just feather that in there like that. So now I've done that, my face looks on the right side, just looks a bit dull. So it's kind of looking a bit flat. So I need to work up some, I'm getting a bit of that cadmium red, and I'm just adding that into my umber. I've grown to love the umber color over the years.
Same.
And I'm just going to go in there and just redefine some of my real dark areas. So where the eyes are squinting, maybe in the crevice of the eye socket there, and you can see already it's starting to darken it up a bit more.
There's a lot of character in that face.
As he's sort of squinting. And if you can see my face, I'm actually pulling the face. My eyes are squinting. Well, my eyes are nearly like that anyway, but I'm squinting sort of hard to sort of, you kind of get that expression going across and you feel where the folds of the face are.
Of course. It's like the pantomime.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm just going to move around, and you might see as I'm painting, I'm not sort of moving around in terms of it being a 2D object. Again, in my mind, I'm actually painting over a face, like I'm in that realm of working around the face as though it's real to me.
Right.
All right, so now we're starting to get a little bit more of a dimension happening on that side. And you can see I'm just working on one side at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mainly because of my medium. My medium dries fairly quickly. So I want to make sure that I get one area to where I want it to before I move on to the next bit of real estate. Just working a bit more highlights in there. I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking here, Kenny.
No, dude, I'm fascinated by this because I like watching oil painters like render flesh tones, and I find it absolutely fascinating that they're able to get such a wide range of values with just the way they mix color. So
Right.
This was the part of this particular painting that I really wanted to pay attention to, because I mean, it's one of those things where like I feel like I want to see how you do it so that I can apply it, and then like know what I mean, like ultimately find the way that like fits in with like my niche.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just got a little bit of orange on the brush now. They're the same orange that I used in the armor.
Right.
And I'm just going to base it just underneath where I want my main highlights to be. So when I do my final pass and I put a little lick of light hitting those cheekbones, hitting the nose, I want the orange to be next to it, because the orange will make it really jump forward. So I'm just putting a little bit of that in there now. And you can see already it's changed that brown to having more impact.
Right.
So I'm just moving in there like that. So you can see the difference now. If I sort of mask that side of the face,
it makes a big difference. Like
you can
now,
see the difference between that side.
Right, that half feels a bit more flat, even though you've got highlights and such. It feels flatter than the side that you've just applied the orange to.
Right, and that's Andrew's got to go. See you, Andrew. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Andrew, thank you for joining in.
Have a great week, and we'll catch you next time with more of your comments about people with elephantitis. So you can. That's one thing I learned, Kenny, was that I would get to a face like that left-hand side. I said, "Oh, that's cool. That's all I need." But then when I'd go to a gallery or I'd go to a museum and I look at some paintings, I go, well, "How do I get to that next bit?"
Right.
Right. And now for me now, like I'm looking at some of those Caravaggios and some of those classics, going, well, how do I get to the point where a face can be rendered where I can see the veins on the face and the water drops in the eye, and how do I get that beautiful blue gray in the eyeball so that when I put my highlights in there, it accentuates the pink, rather than so it's all about thinking about the next bit, the next challenge, the next level.
Of course. Pushing the art further.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, when this dries and I've had a bit of a break from looking at it, I'll come through and do another pass. I'll go through and go, I want to put more highlights in there, or I'll put more shadow, or there's not enough light on that nostril, or whatever it might be. And you've got to remember, like, these are fairly small faces. Like, you can see the size of my brush and hand next to it. We're rendering in a very small, tight area, as opposed to a normal face I would do, which would be nearly 3/4 to scale normally when I do a portrait. So we're working in a fairly small area. Andrew says, thank you for the art lessons. It's our pleasure, Andrew. That's why we're doing it.
Indeed.
So I'm just remixing my colors because, again, they're dried on me as I've been going. getting that light sienna again. Just moving through, smoothing some areas out. It's always interesting too, isn't it, when you paint a portrait of something and you've got a scar running down the face? It changes everything.
Right.
The cause and effect of the light, the shadow, how things move. There's some ASMR scratching happening in the background.
Yes, I'm.
I love it.
So
I love it.
whenever I refresh my quill, I got a little test sheet of paper next to the art here that I use to just kind of scribble the nib with, to kind of like wake it up.
Yeah.
So I'm certain that that the nib is flowing, and
Yeah.
I'm hatching in some areas, some of these little nooks here where I'm going to be casting some shadows from the notches that are on that knee pad,
Nice.
as well as some of the texture of like wear in the armor.
Yep.
All right, so we get a bit of context to Duncan's battle. That a lot of these little areas that I'm sort of like hatching in, I'm gonna go back into it with some copper, right? So I could, sort of like get that bend in the armor.
Nice.
And cut into some of these scratches with a bit of white on one side. So we get that effect of like the light catching the imperfection from an angle.
Very cool.
And it's all about, like how you said, the way the mind's eye sort of like touches the form. You know what I mean? It's like experiencing the form. So I want it to feel rough and worn, and almost like if you run your fingers across the surface the wrong way, like you'll get cut.
Right. Yeah. And it's a great contrasting element to your smoothness of the leg.
Right.
So that's what you can use to play. Like if everything was rough, nothing is. Like I saw someone do a picture of Godzilla the other day, and
Right.
it was beautifully rendered, but it was almost over rendered. Like there's just so much roughness on it.
Right. They
lost
scales.
Godzilla. Yeah, they lost him in there somewhere. It's like they get very excited about it. I remember when I started drawing portraits, I did a picture of a Native American with a beautiful face, like really beautifully warm face, and the artist that looked at it, who I have a huge amount of respect for, he said, "You're so excited by the wrinkles and the damage on that face that it's distracting me." And I thought
that made so much sense just now.
Yeah, I thought that's interesting because I see a lot of over rendering. It's like, look, I've discovered a new trick.
Yeah.
And I'm going to play that trick as long as I'm excited for it,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Alex Toth quote, where he says, "I spent half my career learning how to add lines and detail in. I spent the second half of my career removing it."
Yeah.
Learning the art of letting someone's mind fill in the detail.
That makes perfect sense. Wow. Yvette says, "I'm fascinated how in such a small area you can transform and add so much dimension." Same. That's why I'm like, if you can tell, Yvette, I'm not doing too much on my end because I'm busy peeking at the screen, watching Will render that face, because that was the part that that for me, I was like, I can't wait till he gets to the face so that I can kind of like pick his brain about it.
See, for me, the face itself, the face is like the chocolate icing on the cake. That's my fun bit. That's the bit I'm waiting. It's like the last part of my dinner that I've been holding on to, you know. So all of the stuff, and I was saying this to a kid the other day who was doing a painting. I said, you've got to create the illusion that when someone looks at it, they're not distracted by the things that you find a little bit dull. That it all links together. So the bits you're excited about are as exciting to look at as the bits that you aren't as excited about, because that's the trick. And look, it happens to everyone. Like with full disclosure, like the boring bits to me are rendering the tights color. Like it really doesn't excite me. The exciting bits to me are the armor, the face. I love doing the faces. I don't mind painting in a bit of a background because I can forget about it and I'm just worrying about rocks. You know, like it's the simple things like that. And
it makes perfect sense because you're able to, like, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody in the audience, but I'm able to like look at it and tell that you had a lot of fun rendering that armor.
Yeah, and I did. I did. I could spend hours on it. I don't have the hours, but I could spend hours on it. And yes, Chris, the trumpets will sound.
Yes. The all-encompassed stash.
Now, Kenny, that picture I sent you during the week of the Magnum PI action figure, is that a new thing? Yeah. Is that a new action figure?
That was awesome.
Did we just manifest that into reality by talking about Magnum PI all the time?
I think so. I think so. You know that our phones listen to us.
Yeah. It's funny. And toy companies.
Indeed.
Mattel and Hasbro, if you're listening right now, please employ us as your next concept artist for toys.
Yes, because someone's dropping the ball over there. Someone's dropping the ball over there.
If you've dropped the ball, no offense, but we'll pick it up.
We need to course correct. Course correct.
Yes. So I'm just adding some of that color in again on that other side of the helmet because that's where I'm sort of migrating to now as I move around. And Chris is hanging on just for that stash, and then he's going to leave. You watch. So I'm going to leave the stash to the end.
Yeah.
Mind your game, Chris Borman. I know what's happening.
Shoot,
you're only here for the stash.
The stash is the next part that I'm anticipating. The skin was one thing, but now I'm curious to see how you handle the stash in such a small area.
Yeah. With a brush size that probably is inadequate.
Therein lies the challenge, right?
Yes, indeed. So I just add a little bit of that yellow and orange into the helmet because I do want a bit of reflected light. To do that, which means I'm probably going to have some sort of Terminator line that runs in there. So it doesn't look like this lovely little ombre of orange.
Right.
I do want it to still feel steel. So I'm just kind of lightly sort of feathering over the top there. And what I'll do is I'll come through and do a darker area up against his face. There we go. That's a nice sort of soft orange there now.
Man, that's rendering beautifully.
Got to admit, I've enjoyed doing Man-at-Arms. Like he's not as intimidating as He-Man to do. And looking back on my He-Man, I feel like I want to do He-Man again. But he's been fun to do. I love the armor. I love all of the gadgets and textures. It's been fun. Yeah.
Well, he's a nice mix, right? Because he's got some bits of armor. He's got some of the organic bits. He's got some nice textures, right? Because it's he's got the pelts. He's got some armor plating. It's a nice mix.
Yeah.
And the mace is a really interesting weapon to illustrate because it's not like your standard like club,
right,
or sword.
Yeah, it's it's like a cleric from Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of that giant sort of warrior mace, like the Elden Rings characters,
Oof, yes.
All right, so I'm just bringing in a little bit of that burnt umber and black and a touch of blue. And if you ever combine those three colors together, it gives you a wonderful sort of color for like old jackets and clothing. I use it a lot if I'm rendering like a Solomon Grundy or a Frankenstein's jacket. I will use the burnt umber, the Prussian blue, black and white, and that gives you a really wonderful sort of brown if you ever want to do that.
Nice. Okay.
That'll give you a nice brown. And so even if you're doing things like the coat on, like I did a large painting of an owl once, and I use those colors a lot. They give you some nice sort of cool options there. And when you start adding then the Prussian blue into the reflected light, it links into the rest of the coat because you've used it in the coat.
Ooh, okay. So it's a nice way of kind of like unifying the whole piece, but like keeping your values relatively separate.
Right. No, Chris Borman, this will be my last man-at-arms this week. So next week I roll straight into the man with the plan and the giant ram. Right. So I just fell out. Sorry, everyone. I actually had some sort of rapping ability, and I have none.
The way that just kind of rolled off the tongue.
Yeah, they kind of fell out. It's going to add in a little bit of shadow underneath that helmet there on the skin tones. So I've just added a little bit of cadmium red in with my Prussian and of course the sienna that I've been using. I don't think it's going to be as cool as I want it to be yet, but it will give me a strong indicator as to where my shadows will fall underneath those eyes. I don't want to drift too far down because I still want some of those highlights playing around his eyes there, because I think they work nicely. And I say that with the humility of knowing what's actually coming together and what isn't on a picture. It's not about ego. It's just about going, well, that bit works, that bit doesn't. That needs to be more worked up. So my comments are always based around that idea. It's like you are, as you're painting, you're constantly engineering, reverse engineering, figuring something out. There's 1,000 things going on in my brain, as well as snout spouts, elephant problems.
Yeah.
All the time. Still can't get that out of my mind. Right. It's like my own Vietnam.
How you problem solve.
Yeah. All right, now I'm painted a little tiny cell. I'm just adding a touch, very, very small amount of black in with the eyes because I don't want the black to have too much of an effect. I don't use black very often in my pictures. I had a great exercise once with one of my teachers, and they saw what I was doing, and they saw that I was very much coded by doing comic style all the time when I first started. And they said, try using everything but black. And I go, what? And they go, yeah, you're going to make your shadows without black. That was a real challenge, but very essential because it pushed you to understand complementaries and the way other colors worked.
Right.
And of course, at that stage, it was like, can't be done. This can't be done. Erroneous.
Inconceivable.
You are a madman. Mad, I tell you.
Erroneous.
Erroneous. Who dost thou think thine are?
That's such a
taking
good
away
word.
My black.
I'm going to use that for the rest of the weekend. Erroneous.
I say thee nay. All right, so that shadow line is working. I'm pretty happy with the shadow now. Running along the side of that head. It does need a little bit smoothing, but I need to let that settle now. Otherwise, it will start to lift off the page. So,
what are you going to do in between that mesh there?
Which bit? Sorry.
The space there in between, like the ribs of the armor by the face.
I'm going to continue that helmet down, but I just wanted to see what that looked like.
Oh.
I didn't want to get it too confused. So I've got through the other side, you can see the other side of his armor there, that little mouth. What would you call that? A mouth guard?
I guess.
Face guard?
I
Like a
think
face
so.
guard?
Yeah.
You can see the other side of it there. I will continue that helmet down, but I think I'll just curve it. So I'll just see how that plays out in a minute. And it's nearly time, Chris Bourne. It's nearly time for
Rejoice.
tiny little bit of white highlights just to see how that feels. It's got to feel good. It's got to feel good.
Yes.
I don't think the nose is quite where it needs to be. I need to add a little bit more red in their nose to sort of really give it a bit more rose and sunburnty kind of look. There you go. There's some of the white highlights. So it'll give it a little bit more impact once you get the white in there.
Yes.
Now what I do is I mix up a very, very light grey with a slight amount of brown in it, very, very slight. And I just do a quick wash over the teeth just to start with. And that then sort of gives me, it knocks back the tone. So I'm not looking at these bright white teeth. It's kind of like, again, the man with the Just for Men dye has those blue toned white teeth. Why do they do that? They go so bright it just doesn't look right. Why did they do that? It's like, what do you think we didn't notice? You had teeth that look like baked beans, and now you got these giant bright white teeth. All right, so I'm just adding a little bit of that red in with the nose now, but it's not straight red. I've mixed it in with a bit of the brown.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted to act while the sienna is reasonably damp, but not super wet. So it's had a little bit of time to cure. And I'm just hitting it up just on that bridge of the nose. And look how nice that sort of responds to the highlight next to it. You can see it starts to pop it out a bit. And I bring that right up to next to the highlight, not going into it because I don't want it to turn pink. Because red and white, you know what color that makes, kids?
Yeah.
Pink. And we don't want that on the face. Erroneous. So,
Erroneous. Erroneous.
yeah, so now when you look at that face as a whole, you can see the softness of that raw sienna. You can see where the red now has really pushed that forward. If I want to, it's given me now freedom to go back and with that same red, just put a little bit under the cheeks if I want to. I can get away with leaving that, but if I want to add a little bit more color to his face, I can do that as well. To me, I've got another 2, maybe 3 layers or passes over the face where I start to clean up the highlights, clean up the shadows again, reapply a little bit of the sienna, or maybe even a bit of burnt sienna, so it's like a red. It depends on how tanned I want his face to be. If I want it to be lighter, I'll mix up a little bit of that raw sienna with a little bit of blue and white and start to smooth it out a bit, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Right, some of that red I used on the nose, I'm going to hit up his mouth a little bit on his lip. Lips are always tricky. People don't sometimes always pay attention to what they're doing with the mouth. The mouth is as, if you don't get the mouth right, it's as hard to be convincing as the rest of the face.
Yeah.
Because it has such cause and effect on everything. Best way described to me when I started drawing the mouth in grey lead was that they said it's almost like a tennis ball that's been cut through the middle. And that's how you consider the mouth when you're drawing it, because it's such a hollowed area, but it pushes forward like an edge of a tennis ball.
Right.
There you go. There's a nice visual for you. Take that to the bank. Kitty Coppertone to the bank. All right, so now I've got his mouth there. I think a lot of it's going to be obscured by the giant stash from another world. So what I'll do is I'm just going to change down brush. Let's get a smaller brush. And again, my detail will be restricted by my old man eyesight and the small brush that I'm using. So I'm just going to go along and I'm just going to work not on the teeth. I'm working behind the teeth. So I'm mixing up a little bit of black, and because it's a small brush, it's holding less paint. So I've got to make sure I've got a bit in there. So I'm mixing up a little bit of, surprisingly enough, a little bit of that green I had on his outfit, and a little bit of the Prussian blue and black. And then I'm going to work in behind that teeth area there. These small brushes frustrate me sometimes. They don't always hold everything I want to hold.
This is true.
There we go. So moving along there like that. And if you don't get this right, sometimes you got to wait for it to dry and then reapply it. It can be tricky. And then what I do is as the mouth sort of disappears, I then start to throw in a little bit of the lines of the teeth and a little bit under the gums there. Sorry, what was that, Kenny?
No, I'm watching in awe.
Oh, I thought you said something. Like, this is total garbage. Doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a fool. The man is a fool, I tell you. Oops, can I hit mute? I didn't hit mute. Sorry, Mel. Yeah.
Chris says, when painting statues, I use Tester's Gloss cream for the teeth. It's more natural for the finished look.
Yes, the creamy finish is essential. And then it allows you to go through and put in a final pass with little white highlights if you want to. But I find sometimes the less you do on teeth, the better. Maybe, Chris, you find that the same. But I think if you over-render the teeth, they just can become a bit of a distraction.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, look at my teeth. They're amazing. You didn't even know. You didn't know about the glory of my man at teeth.
My chiclets.
The man of teeth.
My brand new TikTok. Behold.
Behold, the man of grills. You could give him grills because he's a man at arms. It's like an extra armor. Do it. You can do it. You're like Snoop Dogg, man at arms.
He uses it for close quarter combat to blind you.
That's right. The biting and deflection. Chink.
No fair. No fair.
Yeah. When did he get grills? Damn it. Skeletor. Poor old Skeletor.
All is fair.
Poor old Skeletor. So a little highlight. Just going to clean up that edge here. I think it's time. I think it's Chris Pullman says he bites like Mike Tyson. All right, so it's time for the stash. So I'm going to scale up to the brush again, and I'm going to mix up a dark brown, but not too dark. That makes absolutely no technical sense, but a brown that's not super near the black range, but it's more the brown.
Right.
Using my friendly burnt umber, and I'm just going to sort of give it a bit of a coat. And what I'll do is it is my brush. I'm just going to give it a standard, like, straight coat over it. And then what I'll do is I'll come through and I'll do the hair. So I'll give it a standard coat of dark, and then I can build the hair highlights on top of it. It's kind of like how I do grass as well. I do a standard grass color, and then I move over and I do the highlights of the grass, and then the shadows of the grass. What the dark does, it provides my background color. So I'm then not painting the background color around every strand of hair, because that becomes insane and mildly tedious. And there we go. See how that suddenly already pulls that together as man at arms.
Yeah.
You probably felt the same when you put your stash in. You're like, oh, yes.
Exactly.
Now I see you.
Exactly.
All right, let's have a look here. I didn't hear trumpets, Chris. Where's the trumpets? Chris, you promised. I was supposed to hear that.
Indeed. Where is the fanfare?
I'm sick of being let down. All right, so I'm just going to add a little bit of blue in with my black. And I'm going to work in over the top of it. You know when your paintbrush is getting a good workout when the actual paint on the brush is starting to peel off. I just had a big chunk land in the water.
Yep.
And I didn't get distressed. I was like, yes, you're damn straight. Daddy's working. Daddy is working.
You're damn straight. Daddy's working. Daddy's working.
Daddy's working. The labor and strength I'm putting into this. You want to know how hard I worked today? The paint came off the actual brush.
Oh,
Anyone
man.
can go look. It's still in the water. Anyone can go look. Could you choose?
Oh my goodness.
Hey, Chris gave me the fanfare. There we go.
Oh man. Daddy's working.
All right, while that's settling in, I will then send it. The big dilemma I've got now, because he's got an open mouth, I don't want the moustache to look like it's going right up to the teeth, because that's inappropriate. So what I'm going to do is I'll let that settle down there for a minute. And I'll mix up my next layer of highlight, and I'll go over the top, and that will then signal where the moustache ends.
Why would it make it inappropriate? Well,
if you've had a large moustache, if you have a large moustache like I do, you understand. When you grow one and then you have food, you'll understand why you don't want it too close to. Yeah, you don't want to be, you're tasting stuff an hour later. It's not okay.
oh man. I'll tell you.
Right, while that's settling in, I'm going to work up his eyebrow.
These streams
What'd
are
you
all
say?
I'll tell you. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can move my mic from where it is right here and move it to a better position. Bear with me, guys.
Here we are. All right, so we've got a few people in the room with us right now. Must have been the stash. It's attracted the crowd. So if you're joining us for the first time, thank you so much. And if you can, it always helps us out to like, subscribe the YouTubes for us, and also to share out what we do each week. So we gain our momentum with what we're doing. We are traveling through the realms of Masters of the Universe. And this time around, we do have future streams worked out where we're taking on different properties. But if you're joining for the first time, please comment and say hello. And also join along with us, draw with us. It's always the fun part. There's no right, Kenny. I'm just testing to see if Kenny's still able to talk to us. Maybe not. All right, so now that a lot of these colors are starting to settle, which is exactly what I wanted, I'm just going to go in and start to do my next layer over the top, give it a little bit more value without sort of overworking it too much. Bringing it right up to that orange, allowing that blue that I mixed in, the Prussian blue to mix in, to push up against that orange, which is what I want, like so. All right.
Okay. I'm
You back?
Yeah, I just needed to move my mic from where it was. I feel like this is much better where I moved it. Yes. Thank you all for tuning in and joining us in our hijinks and silliness every Friday. We're moving through Masters of the Universe. Like Will mentioned, we do have other IPs slated for future art challenges, which I mean I'm not afraid to say that I'm very excited for it, right? Because I think the next one is going to be Transformers.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm very carefully curating a 30 character list of Transformers. Obviously composed of both Autobots and Decepticons, but it will be focused on Gen 1. Completely focused on Gen 1 so that, we can get the nostalgia and then the member berries bubbling real nice. But it's also for the sake of, like I mentioned, the art challenge, right? It's so that we can kind of do things outside of our comfort zones and explore some different techniques to convey the art, right?
Just a quick question on that.
Go ahead.
Not like I don't really know past Gen 1. What's a Gen 2? It's Transformer.
Gen 2 would be anything after the movie.
Oh, right. So would that include some of the movie when they brought him into toys?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Well, then definitely Gen 1.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like,
I love the movie. The movie itself is probably my favorite part of Transformers.
Same.
But after poor old Optimus.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we safe with spoilers? It was 1986. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't think anyone would be worried about spoilers. Like, if you haven't seen Transformers the movie up to this point, like, you're just not going to watch it.
Yeah. So after Optimus went and died, or was killed,
Right.
Died after battle, I found it hard. To connect.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Because what was the name of the big rig, the blue, red, and white one?
Ultra Magnus, is that the one?
Ultra Magnus. It just wasn't the same for me.
No, he was kind of like, he's like an off-brand Optimus. It's like the same colors, Robert Stack was just not Optimus Prime
at all.
And he knew it.
Yeah, like I appreciate what they were doing.
He knew it in the movie. He didn't even know what to do with the Matrix. It's like, what? I don't even know what this thing is. Open up.
What do I do with
it?
I
don't even know what to do with this thing. He got murdered trying to opening it. They took him out as he's fiddling with the thing trying to open it.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to see, like, they talked about him being this great warrior. Like, show me.
Right.
Because when Optimus flies in on the truck at the beginning with that amazing 80s soundtrack blaring, you've got the touch, and he transforms. He blows away like 8 Decepticons. I thought, yes, finally.
100%.
But then Ultra Magnus is not doing that. He's fiddling with his Rubik's Cube and gets taken out.
What do I do with it? What is it?
Yeah, let me just clink. Let me just figure it out while they're reloading. Right.
So put on my head. This is a hat.
Is it an amulet? To wear it as an amulet? I'm going to wear it as an amulet. What are you talking about?
In
Just
the
shoot them.
meantime, Optimus Prime is John Wicking a bunch of Decepticons. Yeah.
He's gone full Max Payne slow-mo mode, just taking them all out.
Exactly. Doing the bullet time the bullet time jumping dodges behind
How
cover.
good is the jump? He jumps in the air. You're looking up at him doing this reverse dive with his rifle forward. And I didn't even care about science. Like, I didn't care about could a machine do that or can a human do that? But he was doing it. He was doing it and took them all out. And then lands on his feet, lo and behold, on his feet. And then just unleashes, blowing them all away. I was like, that's kind of
go wrong with that.
And then we go to that to us 2 scenes later, and he's dead. I was like, what? What am I watching?
Who wrote this?
I was like in year 6. I was like, I don't know, 12. And damn him, he made me cry.
Same.
When he turned grey, it looks like I couldn't handle it. He turned grey and turned his head to the side.
You know?
To signal to everyone that he's died, because he turned the head to his side when he died. And that was the rules. And that was that.
Yeah.
That was that. And like, cool. And they introduced that cool character, RC.
Yes.
And I thought, that's cool, but how come only one girl? Like, is she like the Smurfette of the Transformers?
Yeah, like that's just weird. Why
didn't you do any more?
Right?
And like, how did that work? Like, was the consciousness that went into the robot like feminine? And the others were all dudes? I mean, then I started thinking, like, how come they're all dudes then? I never thought of that before.
Exactly.
I never crossed my brain while they're all guys. Like, but then when they had the one female, I started thinking, are there more? Like, how did this work?
Right. Once again,
Chris,
it's like,
Chris
you know,
said,
it's like
never
good
saw
folks
it.
over at Hasbro.
Chris said, thanks for the spoilers. Well, that's what you get for not giving me immediate fanfare, Chris.
Yes.
Next time, be on point with the trumpet.
You bring it upon yourself. You know, and once again, it's a good folks over at Hasbro, you know, not really thinking things through.
Right.
Let's make one of them a girl to see if we
Great
can pull
idea.
some, you know, some girls into the fandom.
But why do the one?
Yeah, but why do just the one?
Just one. And then everyone's thinking, what's going on here?
Exactly.
Like, everyone wondered in Smurfette, like with Smurfette, is she the one that's like giving birth to all the Smurf? Like, what's happening? Do you know what I mean? Like, you think practically, you think, is she like the mama Smurf? Like, when you're as a kid, you go, is she the mama Smurf? Is it weird? Like, are then none of those Smurfs attracted to her? Like, that's the thing. Like, what's the deal here? How do more Smurfs happen?
Exactly.
Mess with my brain.
They didn't, they didn't, again, they didn't think things through.
No.
Like, look, if we do this one girl, we need to make more. Like,
I think it's something you got to put to Melanie. Like, stop at Drabville and start. Let's have a look at the Smurf world, right? Because she might have watched Smurfs and just say, "What's the deal with?" Will wants to know what's the deal with Smurfette.
100%.
It's not out of. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm seriously upset. I don't know what's going on. I'm genuinely need clarification.
Because even the Care Bears had multiple female characters.
Yeah, but not the Smurfs. And to be honest with you, like, He-Man probably needed some more female warriors too. Like,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, Chris has brought a bit of clarity. Thank God, Chris. Gargamel created Smurfette. What? Really?
Okay. I need
just
context.
to mess with the dudes? Like, create inner turmoil with one girl.
They'll fight and they'll kill each other.
They'll kill each other over the girl. Yeah.
They'll kill each other over one girl.
Yeah.
They'll be so distracted. I can snatch up a couple of Smurfs on the side, bake a
Hang
pie
on.
or something.
Why did Gargamel want the Smurfs? Was it a magic thing?
I think he wanted to eat them.
Right. So then why didn't he just create them like he created Smurf? I don't know. He went through a lot of hassle. Would he just make some if you can make Smurfette?
Oh, look, to deceive the Smurfs, she had black hair at first.
Did she? What? What?
Apparently, she had black hair at first.
She went from that to being Dolly Parton. Like, what happened?
So do the Smurfs prefer blondes over brunettes?
Did they make her dye her hair?
Did
Is
they
it like
say, nah, if you're going to hang out with us,
you gotta be
you
blonde.
gotta change your hair color?
You gotta wear one of those Disney wigs. Like you see the kids wearing it when they go to Disney.
You gotta
blonde
cosplay
wig.
as blonde?
You gotta cosplay. She's really a brunette still. I don't know. It's very confusing.
Yeah. They did. I mean, well, they kind of did the same thing with the Snorks, didn't they?
Snorks.
There was like one female Snork in the little hangout group.
I forgot about the Snorks. Thanks, Kenny.
It's what I do, Will. It's what I do. I'm
The
here for good
Snorks.
stuff.
That's a classic. The Snorks was like an off-brand Smurfs, wasn't it? Underwater Smurfs.
Yes, they were like these weird sea monkey Smurfs.
Yeah, a sea monkey Smurf.
That like one of them couldn't talk. I think he had a disability. He couldn't talk, so he would just make noises.
Oh,
The little green one.
Chris, you're all about the Smurfs I've discovered. You
Well,
have so much Smurf knowledge.
Oh man, look at that! She became good. Her hair turned blonde. Getting all kinds of ladies and gentlemen. It's more than just art. We give you all kinds of like 80s lore.
Yes. We've either destroyed or awakened your childhood. So either way. Sometimes you have one question that leads to 15,000 more, like I do. But
Yes.
every discussion is like an episode of Lost. I don't get any answers. I get 1,000 more questions.
Exactly. You get some answers, but you leave with more questions.
That's right. Mainly the questions about my insanity, but anyway. All right, so I'm just noodling away at this helmet because I want to get that helmet gradient right.
Indeed.
And just deciding how far to bring it to the face here. All right, so I think the face itself, Kenny, I think we're just about done for this part. I'm just going to let it settle in a bit. I might have a chance to go over his moustache a bit more, but I'm just going to start working on the helmet.
And after that, well, you got the droids in the back with the laser shot.
Yeah, I got the droids. I got his knee pad to do, and then that's it. So,
sweet.
Yeah, so I've got that knee pad to do there. The other boot's done, and then I'm just doing that little hover droid in the background, doing his little like hitting off and bouncing off his back.
Yeah.
And it should be just and a mace, and we should just be that done. If you follow us on our socials, I'll post it up during the week. Finished.
Yeah. So I'm just using a bit of this black watercolor to add a bit more definition to the droids in the background.
Nice.
Right? I don't want my my lines to be as defined as my man-at-arms, so that they remain in the background, but they don't compete with man-at-arms.
Yes. Don't even try to compete with them.
And they can't.
Don't even think you can.
There's no competition.
It's over. Just go home.
Um,
Watch the Smurfs. Chris Borman says, my little sister was in the Smurfs.
I think my sister was more so into strawberry shortcake.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Strawberry shortcake. Then
And My
she
Little
was-
Pony,
oh yeah.
glowworms, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, glowworms.
Remember them?
Yes, I do. Man,
Teddy Ruxpin.
that had
Glowworm.
that had the 80s in a chokehold.
Yes, it did.
The glowworms, Teddy Ruxpin.
Yes. And that's.
Uh,
I swear to God, Teddy Ruxpin spawned the Chucky movies. Like, you can't tell me otherwise.
oh, easily.
The glowworms were made out of lead-based paint or something. Like, it was something amazing. Like
Yeah.
plutonium.
The Cabbage Patch Kids.
Oh yeah, the cabbage. It was, yes. My sister had those. Yeah.
Because I remember at the height of the popularity of like the Cabbage Patch Kids, they had like the kit where you can make your own doll.
That's
So
weird.
like the kit would provide the head for the
Because
doll.
wasn't the whole idea was that you were adopting a kid, like
Yeah.
adopting a child, and now you get to
Yeah.
make your own, like Frankenstein.
Yes. So like
That's a
you
bit
could
odd,
buy
isn't
the
it?
already made doll, but then like Build-A-Bear, they had the one where you could like make yourself.
Just for those just to program the children to be eventual genetic. Choose your own child one day, people.
There you go.
It's weird, isn't it? Not happy with that kid? Design your own.
There you go.
I remember my dad hated the Cabbage Patch Kids. Hated them.
Why?
I go, why? He goes, because they look like little pumpkin. Like, what's with the no chin? And he goes, they look like they got problem. Like, Dad, it's just a toy.
There were a few of them that had like the little tooth, the little buck tooth, like that would stick
One
out.
tooth.
Yeah,
One
it was
little
like
tooth there.
the one little buck tooth.
Little tic tac. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little tic tac tooth. Like my nan. Yeah.
The one little buck tooth popping out.
Yeah.
My mom loved like making the doll for my sister because like she was she's always been into like sewing and stuff. So she was, like,
it's her chance to play with the doll, but not play with the doll. Yeah.
Yeah. On some level, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I bet that you had HR puffin stuff and banana splits. Yes.
Ooh, I remember that one too.
Because they went on to make Land of the Lost, didn't they? It's the same Marty and Croft company or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oof. Oh,
HR puffin stuff. No, I think they tried with Yo Gabba Gabba a little bit, didn't they? They were trying to have that kind of crazy, off the wall.
They did.
Whatever happened to him?
I think he started making music.
Did he? What?
He like the guy with the fuzzy orange hat.
Yeah, with the full orange jumpsuit. That I used to think, geez, that's going to get threadbare and dirty.
So my first encounter, like exposure to Yo Gabba Gabba, right? I was in New York and I was visiting a childhood buddy of mine, right? And at this time he had kids. I hadn't had my son yet. So his wife is I'm talking to his wife and she's like, I hate this cartoon, but Isaiah loves it. Right, or the show, but Isaiah loves it. I'm like, why do you hate it? And she said to me, "Look at these characters, Kenny. Look at them real good, and tell me that they don't look like sex toys."
What?
And from the moment she said that, I couldn't unsee it.
Unsee it, yes. Oh my God, I didn't think that. Now I don't think I can unsee it.
And
Gabba Gabba.
It blew me away. One of them was all bumpy and stuff, and the
The-
other one looked like butt plugs. It was crazy, crazy.
yeah. I
I
remember
was like,
seeing
oh man, she's right.
him at San Diego one year. He was there walking around, like in full costume, of course, as you do.
Oh,
He's walking around. I thought it's got to be hot in that orange, like head to toe outfit. And I'm looking at him. I thought, dude, there's a lot of movement there when you're walking. Like, there's not a, you can't hide in that. Like,
at
we've
all.
talked about that in the costumes in this context.
Yes.
But he's walking around in a head to toe orange jumpsuit and not afraid that people are looking and thinking, right, I can see what religion you are. Like, they're not really, I can, you know what I mean? Like, there's nowhere to sort of, there's nothing but the orange jumpsuit.
Yeah. We,
That
we
starts
got to be
getting
mindful
threadbare.
of, the meat and veggies, the cash and prizes.
Twig and berries. I want you
Twig
to
and
get a
berries.
cash and prizes. Don't star jump in front of the children. Stop it. No star jumping.
The cash and prizes.
Can you stop with the star jumps? Jesus. What's Chris Baldwin say? Chris has got a story for us. There's their store where that was stormed by the masses of the Cabbage Patch Kids, and the manager fought them back with a baseball bat. It's 15 miles from where I live.
Jesus.
He fought them back with a baseball bat. That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's hardcore. Is what that is.
It's like
that's
Walking
hardcore.
Dead stuff. That is. All right, I bet. Jesus.
The lunch pack. Oh, that's great. The lunch pack. That's fantastic.
Oh. Chris, I'm gonna have to look it up. Is it on YouTube too? Because I hope it's on YouTube. I need to see footage of the baseball bat and the toys going
For
everywhere.
research purposes.
Research purposes only. Only. As I'm getting arrested because of my search engine. It was just for research purposes.
For research purposes. We promise.
Yo Gabba Gabba, Cabbage Patch raid on a store, and lunchbox.
Oh man. That's great. That's great. Oh man.
Now listen, I blame everyone now because we went off the road. Right? It's not just our fault anymore. This is it's a collective blame. I blame everyone.
Yes. Although it could be said that, we are the influence for that.
We set the standard.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did. We weren't even 10 minutes in. We weren't even 10 minutes in. And, it
jumped off.
Man, it took a sharp left. Sharp left.
The 10-second timer ended. We were there. The spinning sword. It was there.
Oh man, that's a good one.
I wish I'd done. You know how I did that segue for the new Transformers show we're going to do. I wish I'd done one for this so we could segue between insanity movements.
Oh, it's so good.
I should show someone, and I'll put it on. I'll find it now. Ready? Just to segue between our insanities. Here we go. Next chapter.
Oh man. I tell you, I look forward to this every week. Man, I tell you, it's moments like this that it takes me back to when I had the studio space,
Yes.
and every so often we would do sort of like a walkthrough of the
Yep.
studios. We would like open it up to the public so people can just kind of walk in and see what everybody was working on and such, and it would be like a communal thing.
Yeah.
But alcohol was involved because we had a bar in the back of the studio.
Alcohol, like it's a guy.
Yeah.
Alcohol was involved. He's wanted.
Yeah,
He's wanted in 3 states.
Yeah, we had a bar in the back, so it was like, actual work was being done while people were, walking through, looking at the gallery and so forth for a whole 40 minutes until the alcohol started flowing, and yeah.
Alcohol. You can't trust him.
You can't.
No.
That's like this. There was this one this one convention that I went to in Orlando. It was a surf and skate expo, right? And I went because I guess the designer that invited me to come out, he had designed these like skateboard decks that had my art on it. So as a guest,
that's cool.
Yeah, he wanted me to come out and like do some live art on blank skateboard decks.
Nice.
Right outside the booth. So the cool thing about this particular convention, I'd never been to a con like this before. At like 5 p.m., right? They would ring a bell. They would ring a bell at 5 p.m. and say, "Beer, free beer."
And then you had the Cabbage Patch riot.
Oh,
that's what happened.
Man. Dude, nothing was getting done after 5 p.m. Nothing was getting done. The show ran from like 10 a.m. to like 7.
Yeah.
But like
it was over.
After 5, woo, when that bell rang,
it was over.
Nothing was getting done.
It was good night.
It
was Good Friday.
It was
Chris Ballman said we took a sharp left from the beginning, Kenny. Sharp left from the beginning. But in the middle, I actually went to the kitchen to take my heart meds. Did we do that? I hope we didn't do that. And came back and he was still on topic. Shocked me. Sometimes I get shocked too, Chris. We find next levels. We find new levels. New levels to go to. We're still discussing a different pelt color.
This is true.
Yeah.
That's the mind of artists, right? We're able to turn it off.
Yeah.
But somehow that the spring in the switch is bad, so it'll turn back on by itself.
I always thought it was just healthy to bottle it up. Just keep bottling. Keep pushing it down. Push it down, Will. Push it down. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? It comes in other ways. Keep bottling up.
Oh man.
Bottle it up. So I'm just adding a little bit of brown, Kenny, just so you know. Yeah. In with my grey.
That's
why it doesn't look. That's why it doesn't look too tinny.
Man, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, and it will keep it warm. It doesn't look too blue, and it will and it mixes nicely when I hit it with the white too, and it tends to link it to the face a bit.
That's coming out great.
A little bit of brown, a little bit of burnt umber.
Yeah.
If I had to put a name to the brown, burnt umber.
I wouldn't have thought to use brown.
I think I discovered it because I was doing some old rusted Volkswagen vans once,
right.
Combi vans, and I was doing a lot of rust, and I kind of discovered it by accident. And the brown works well with the steel.
So, like, if you were to use like an orange, it would be too bright.
Sorry, say that again.
If you were to use an orange, it would have been too bright.
Too milky.
Gotcha.
Once it hits the grey, like you can see in my shadow areas where I use the orange here,
Right.
it just gets too creamy. Whereas the brown will still hold its colour. And then because I've got the brown, then I could then work over with a bit of red and orange,
Right.
and that will then attach itself to the brown nicely.
Gotcha.
Still laughing. Is what it is. It is what it is.
Indeed. Indeed. So all my line art is in. What I'm doing is I'm using some a gray or just black, but a really watered down black.
Yeah.
So I can get some really soft lines around some of the forms, and using a bit of the watercolor white, so that I can break up some of the lines in key areas, so that we get that like reflective effect from the light source coming from behind manatarms.
Nice.
And picking up some of these more solid forms.
How do you find the white responds though, Kenny? How do you find that responds to your paint you got underneath it?
I think it responds really well, because like, look, this was white that I applied last week.
Okay.
So it's sort of like, it's kind of like if you were using like Photoshop terms, right? This is like kind of set to multiply. Like if I were to set the layer, my white layer, to sort of like multiply, it'll sort of work with the local color, and sort of soften whatever that base color is, without like being like a harsh white. So like if I wanted to use a harsh white, I use the white ink as opposed to like white paint.
Right. Yeah. With you. Got it.
So
always curious, because sometimes white can go either way for me. I find it can build or it can destroy depending on what I've done underneath it.
Right. When I use the white, I watch my water ratio.
Yes.
When I use the white, because I don't want it to be too wet.
Yep.
But I need it like thick enough to where it'll like give me a decent layer.
Right. And for those joining us for the first time, we are using a mix between, well, I'm using primarily gouache, but you're mixing between mediums as well?
Yes, I'm using some gouache, some watercolor. I got my graphite stick ready to go. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of tightening up some areas before I add my finishing touches.
Right. And that's where you have to be careful, isn't it? Because the gouache can reactivate.
True. So I'm being very, very careful to use a damp brush, not a wet brush.
Right.
So I have a sponge here that is damp, that after I clean the brush, I have a separate sponge that I can use to dry the brush, but to dampen the brush, I have a separate sponge for that, so that I can like apply the paint without reactivating the gouache.
Yeah, it's an awesome little thing that gouache has, but it can work against you as well.
Yep, because it'll very easily, very quickly lift.
Yes. So I'm just adding the little details on the helmet now, the little red gemstones that he's got.
Yeah.
I think they're red gemstones. I don't think they're technology, are they?
No, I think that's, to me, they kind of read like rivets.
Yeah.
Like bolts.
Like studs.
That are part of the, like studs. Yeah.
But he's got red ones.
Yeah.
Interesting choices.
Well, I mean,
maybe just painted them. Like maybe they're like a, like how you see sometimes soldier helmets, they put little paint on them, like in Vietnam. Or maybe it was like a distraction so they look like eyes. You know, like when you go into battle, like they're looking at that, not your face. I don't know. Again, I think we're reading too much into it. I'm reading too much into it.
It's possible. It's quite possible.
It is. And just like most of my week at work, I have to remember to only let the public see 1% of my insanity, because sometimes that could be a career killer. It could be a career killer.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to lean too much into it.
Yeah, bottle it up, Will. Bottle it up. Shh. No, it's quiet time.
That's it.
Go eat a sandwich. How are your collector cards going this week?
Good.
I did see some that you posted online. You put some more up.
Yeah, that was through one of my clients, actually. Those are artist proofs that I did for that particular client, and he posted those on Instagram and tagged me in them. So I have more that I'll be putting up.
Yeah,
that are artist proofs. I just have to, like, kind of like compose the post, because it's a few of them, and I want to do them like slides.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff was like very custom, but it wasn't anything like crazy, because whenever I do artist proofs, I have to keep it relatively close to the source material.
Yes. Yeah.
It can't be like hyper custom stuff.
Yeah.
So I got some good ones that I haven't posted yet. And then the new set that I'm working on now, I'm doing, I think they're mainly all mutants.
Oh wow, okay. So you're in the mutant verse.
Yeah, I'm the first 15 cards are basically all members of Generation X.
Yep.
The young mutant faction.
Yep.
Then the set that I just started today is it's all Midnight Suns.
Ooh. Didn't they just announce there's a movie coming out about that?
Something like that. That.
So for those who don't know who Midnight Suns is, it's Ghost Rider. Is it Morbius? Is he in there?
Yeah. So the more, I guess, the more common roster is Moon Knight, Morbius, Blade, Doc Strange, Daredevil. Shoot, and I think there's one more. There's one more character that's escaping me right now, but I'm doing the lineup that includes Magic, Elsa Bloodstone, Wolverine, Blade, and Moon Knight.
Because they did announce the new Blade movie too. So that's going to be interesting. No Wesley Snipes. I was like, I don't know how that's going to be for me.
Yeah. I mean, because I think Wesley's just too old to.
Yeah. Well, he was almost that when they did that, wasn't he? Like, but he's just so good.
True. But I think Wesley's like in his 60s now.
Yeah.
But fun fact, he wrote a book.
Yeah.
That was loosely based off of what Blade 3 would have been.
Ooh.
Right? So Blade Trinity wasn't part of his original vision for the Blade trilogy.
Yeah, right.
Right?
I don't think it was many people's original vision.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Ryan Reynolds sort of took the stage on that one, didn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, so like the book that he wrote is what the original Blade movie trilogy would have been.
Right. Okay.
So it like the third movie was supposed to jump into a dystopian future where the vampires won.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I forgot. Hold on, I could pull up the name of the book series because it's available on Amazon.
Yeah, that's cool.
West Side book. Talon of God.
Yeah, nice.
Talon of God.
Because the big bad that was in Blade 3, he played Dracula, like kind of like the original
Right.
vampire. I wasn't convinced. The actor
Neither
that
was I.
played him wasn't convincing to me. Like, I don't know.
Neither
I love a
was
good vampire. You know, I love a good vampire movie, but this was,
Same.
yeah, I don't know, just wasn't quite buying it.
Same. That shoot. In terms of like big bad vampires, I look and I love a good vampire movie myself.
Yeah,
The like Dracula 2000 with Gerard Butler playing Dracula
yeah, yes,
was pretty decent.
yeah,
I think for as vampire movies go, it was fun.
right.
You know, the Bram Stoker's Dracula with Oldman playing
Yes,
Dracula. That one was
great
great.
movie. Great movie.
That one was fantastic. The original Fright Night.
Yes, with what's his name in that? Who was that actor? That was I'm thinking of his brother, her brother. Is it Roberts? Was it Julia Roberts' brother? Or was it someone else?
I'll tell you right.
No, it wasn't him. Was it? Who? No, need to look. Who played Fright Night?
That
The original
was. Where is it?
Let's see. Because the original one, yeah, the remake. I don't know, man. The original, the remake wasn't so great.
That was Chris
Sarandon. So is
Yes.
that's Susan's brother, isn't it? Susan Sarandon.
Chris Sarandon.
Yeah. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, classic '80s douchebag, right?
Yeah,
Because he was synonymous with playing the '80s douchebag in a lot of the.
Well,
teen
wasn't he the
movies.
cop? Wasn't he the cop out of Chucky? He was
Yeah,
the cop, wasn't he? He was the detective.
Look at that.
There you go. And Chris says, "How do I like I like the Abraham Lincoln vampire movie.
Yeah,
I didn't mind it. I don't know. I like the action scenes were fantastic with the hammer, and so that was cool. The axe throwing, the axing, that was fantastic. Don't know really about the end of movie Big Bad, but the movie itself was cool. I like them when they're set in a period piece like that. There's just something cool about it, you know. And that it came back and took his kids out. I was like, wow, his boy. Very cool.
Well, have you ever seen Peaky Blinders? Not Peaky Blinders. Penny Dreadful.
No, I haven't watched it. It's on my list to watch, but it's like most things. I've been so caught by the art lately. I haven't really watched anything new. In saying that, I sat down and watched the new season of True Detective last night. Started watching the new episodes with Jodie Foster.
What do you think about it?
I liked it. I've only watched the first episode, but because I've just come off the back of the Hannibal series, like Silence of the Lambs, I thought I'll give that a watch. And I can't find Manhunter anywhere out here in this country. I was going to give that another watch, but can't find that anywhere. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the first one. I haven't seen it since the first season that came out.
Right.
With McConaughey and Woody.
Yeah.
But and I really like that first season. I haven't watched any others. Are they good?
Well, in my opinion, the best one is with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. Correct, Chris. All I do is noodle. It's true. Like it's I can't. like I only watched it because I was pretty buggered. I got down from work yesterday,
Right.
so I thought I'll put the kids into bed. By the time they settled down, it was like late, and I thought I'll just put something on that I've been waiting to see because I really didn't have it in me to paint last night because it's too late, and so I thought, give it a go. It's been sitting on the players. I keep meaning to watch it, and I was really really impressed by it. It was good.
So,
have you watched it?
Which one?
The new
True Detective? No.
Yeah.
No. I've been hearing mixed opinions about it.
Yeah.
But I got to give it a shot.
Yes. Chris Miller has joined us.
Hey, Chris.
If anyone knows the Master of the Universe world, it is Chris Miller. He's the man to ask about the furry trunks and why gemstones on the belt.
Yes.
He's the man.
Yes.
He knows the law. He's the law.
So wait a minute. So if he's a big fan, then he can answer the burning question of what was the name of the sorceress's hawk?
Yvette already did that. Remember?
No, we did. But
Yvette
we didn't ask Chris. Yvette
did the research. And you know what? I'm glad you said it because I wasn't sure which burning question you were going to ask. Because there are many have been discovered in this live stream today. All from Smurfette to Care Bears. Many burning questions.
We've covered lots of lore tonight. Lots of lore.
I would have thought the burning question would be, like, we had some good suggestions about Skeletor's pose. I'm keen to hear what Chris thinks about what a good Skeletor pose would be for the next painting, Chris, because that's what we're doing.
This is true. That, or what do you think a full English is?
Yes. It's got nothing to do with Rowan Atkinson. Yvette says Manhunter, the FBI series. Yeah, it's basically a prequel to Red Dragon. So if you think Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal, and Manhunter's a prequel to that. So it talks about the characters before Clarice Starling. I guess that's probably the best way to describe it. And Chris says I'm too drunk to remember. Now's the best time, Chris.
Absolutely.
Now is where we unlock the hidden knowledge. Now is when we let out what you've been bottling up all week. Because as we've also revealed in this podcast, in this live stream, it is healthy to bottle it up. Just so you stay out of prison. Or insane asylums like our stories.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so he's going with the head back filmation laughing Skeletor.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
Okay.
I think he's throwing down the gauntlet for you, Kenny.
I do like that one. I do like that one. And that would be a challenge because it's tough. It's tough to draw a skull in that perspective.
Like, not only a skull, but what's happening underneath his chin.
Exactly. That's why.
Is there a brain in there? Like, what the hell? Like, is it mystically floating in the hood? Like, what's happening underneath the chin?
Because I was gonna do mystic skull floating in the hood.
Yeah. Are you gonna do like a glowy green for his like skull? Or are you gonna go with old bones, bone color?
I just might. I like the glowy, that weird sort of like limey green.
Yeah.
This like a yellow green. You know what I mean?
Yes. And what's everyone's favorite iteration of Skeletor? Like, are we talking about Filmation Skeletor, dare I say, even movie Skeletor or action figure Skeletor, some of the comic books, mini comics.
Oof.
Which one? Which is the
That's a
best
great.
Skeletor?
That's a great question. What do you guys like? Like,
Is it
OG
Skeletech?
Skeletor.
Is it Skeletech? OG? Chris is saying OG. Good old Skeletech.
Skeletech.
From the new
Interesting.
Kevin Smithy thing.
Yeah.
Skeletech.
You know what? I didn't mind Skeletech. I just wish they didn't like lean into it so hard.
Yeah. It's like, look what I found. You find it. I don't know. It didn't jive with me, that part. And I was like, I didn't like the motherboardy kind of thing taking over everybody. I thought it was just, I feel like it's been told in other stories. I thought, what are you doing? Like, why do you need to do that? Because I just wanted to see the villains do their thing. I wanted to see Triclops be Triclops, and I wanted to see Trapjaw be Trapjaw, but we can't explore that now because now I've got this weird biometric thing going on.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Superman 3.
Right, yes. With that woman that
Yeah.
his sister.
It reminded me of Superman 3, and it just kind of,
his sister that looked like she was running a women's prison. And she, you know what I mean? The grey and the tight hair and the angry face all the time. Resting angry.
Wasn't that the lady from Throw Mama Off the Train?
I think it is. And if it wasn't, it should have been. Throw Mama Off the Train with Danny DeVito.
I've been flagging on my social medias lately. When can I buy all of this amazing art? When we throw Mama off the train. Okay.
What a great title for a movie. Oh my god. Oh man. Sorry, Chris. I'll answer it. I just can't see the screen.
Yeah. So Chris, after I'm done with Skeletor, I'm gonna drop the first 5. I'm gonna put the first 5 of the Motu Run art challenge on my Etsy shop. So the Etsy shop is, as like you would see on the bottom of the screen for my screen name, Wilding Studios. It's all one word in Etsy. So like once I'm done with Skeletor, the first 5, which were Beastman, He-Man, Merman, Man-at-Arms now, and then Skeletor, those first 5 will drop in my Etsy store as soon as I wrap Skeletor. So in like 2-3 weeks, because we do these once a week, and we figured we'll these streams usually run 2 to 3 hours because we do the whole process in front of you guys. So tonight we're wrapping Man-at-Arms. I'm practically done. I just gotta run around the image and tighten some areas up. But after Skeletor, like the first 5 are going up on the Etsy shop, and each one of these is 11 by 14, fully colored gouache and watercolor with some ink. Well, what about you?
Oh, yep. So same. It's all going on Etsy. I think I've got He-Man, Beastman, and I think maybe Merman is on there now. Is on Etsy at the moment. And I'm doing some little side ones too, like you saw the Man-at-Arms brown paper sketch I did as a bit of a study.
Headshot,
so
that headshot is beautiful.
So I got some little side ones like that. So if the gouache, the cost of the gouache ones is not your flavor, I have some other priced variants. I haven't got the Man-at-Arms one up there on the Etsy store yet, but I'll put it up when I put this one up. So we've got the 2 there. Yeah, I think that's And then I think if you look at I'll bring up the list again, Chris, so you can have a look at it on the screen. So we've talked about this a couple of times today. So you can see the running list there. So we've done Beastman, He-Man, Merman. We're at Man-at-Arms finishing. Skeletor's next. Then Stratos, Teela, Zodak, Evil Lyn, Faker, Many Faces, Ram Man, Trapjaw, and Triclops. That's going to be a nice run, that first row, Kenny, I reckon, once we're finished. And then we've got the Battle Armor characters, He-Man and Skeletor, to start off the next row. Buzz-Off. Buzz-Off would be good. Clawful. Fisto, which is right next to Stratos, he's one of my favorites. Cobra Khan. They had the squirty venom mouth. Remember that? You could fill his belly up with water and pretend to poison everyone.
Yeah.
That was great. Our favorite Mechanic. Mechanic's had a bit of a mention today. Jesus. Orko's there. I remember doing an Orko a little while ago. That sold pretty quickly.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
That was part of the legendary portraits I was doing. Prince Adam. That's going to be interesting, Kenny. You're going to be able to handle the pink and the purples on the Prince Adam.
It's going to feel like
I mean, we could buy a batch really because we've got Orko anyway, so they're both got the same thing. Yeah, I'm a man.
Yeah, they're in the same palette.
I'm a big fan of Fisto. He was the one toy I never got as a kid because we went down to get it and I got Jitsu instead. All I had was Jitsu, but I love Jitsu and Fisto. They were two great, cool characters, and I think not really used enough. Like they could have had some great moments, but anyway. Webster, like the TV show. the little orphan kid living with a rich white. Webster, he was this spider sort of. He had a bit of a spider thing going on, didn't he? Whiplash, Hordak, Leech, Kenny, that'll be good.
Yep. And
Grizzlaw. That's the end of the second row. And then we keep rolling. So Roboto is on the third row. You're a big Roboto man. Kenny.
That's my guy. Yep.
So the third row's got Mantana, Mossman, Modulok, Roboto, Spikeor, Stinkor, Cyclone. He was the spinning one, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. Too Bad. Rio Blast. He'll be cool to do. That's another stash. That's stash number 2.
There it is. Yep.
That's Magnum PI returned. We'd have to think of a second. Maybe he's kind of like Magnum PI and one of the guys off the A-Team had a child, and that's clean.
Yep.
Like Face off of A-Team.
Yeah.
Had a child with Magnum PI.
It's Face with the beard.
King Randor, everybody, is next.
Yeah.
Sorceress. Yeah, got a few Blade. There's a Blade. I didn't know the Blade character, but Blade's in there.
Blade was, I think Blade was created for the movie.
Right.
He wasn't
Ninja.
like an original motion character. Yeah.
Well, they brought him in. They made a character, action figure out of him. Then Ninja. We've got the Horde Trooper, Scareglow. Shadow Weaver's going to be cool.
Ooh, okay.
Hero. Well, they're running out of names by then, do you reckon?
I think so.
Hero. Was that right before they made the Stan Lee Masters of the Universe character?
I think Hero came from Heroes.
Yeah.
Like the Japanese guy in Heroes.
Oh right, I'm with
the time traveler.
I thought you were trying to make sense of the name. Hero came from the name of Hero. Yes.
Yeah.
Sunman, just Sunman.
Yeah. Just
wasn't Hero. I thought Hero was one of the original. Like he was a Mattel design that never made a toy. Like he was like one of the mythical creatures. I don't know. I could be wrong. They had giants. They had 2 giants. Remember?
Yeah.
We got Sunman, Panther. Very close to Panther. Jitsu, Green Goddess. That's going to be fun to do. Snout Spout, your boy. That's your boy Snout Spout. Snake Mountain and Grey Skull. We end on a big hit. 2 landscape pieces. Yeah. There you go.
Man, in your Etsy looks amazing. Oh, so Chris went over to your Etsy store. It says Beastman looks great.
Thanks,
Beastman
Chris.
looks amazing.
Glad you like it. It was fun to do, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed. Beastman was I guess the cherry popper, if you will, for this. Right. It's Friday night here stateside.
Chris is drunk.
Chris is drunk.
The vet's high. And we've got
the wife is out getting some ramen. It's a party. We're painting 80s toys.
It's loose. It's getting loose about a minute.
It's a party. It's a party out here.
Yeah. Chris is on the medication. It's all. Chris Borman's on the meds. Chris is on the drink.
Yes.
The vet's got a Saturday lunchtime beverages. We know. Everybody knows the vet. Everybody knows.
The meat and veggies. Oh man.
What was a lunchbox? Lunchbox. Oh, Jesus.
Hold on, I gotta scroll up and see what she's like. Oh man. Oh, I tell you.
Meat and 2 veg.
The lunch pack. Oh man, the packed lunch, baby. That's what we're packing. The lunch.
So Chris, which I'm trying hard to to maintain a strain of thought, but also we're trying hard to keep these characters closer to the illustrative world. Like I know with Man-at-Arms, we have skated along all forms of Man-at-Arms. When we started looking at the beginning, we were really focused on all the different iterations. So we looked at, there we are on screen now. We've got everything from the mini comic, Filmation animation to the newer animated series. And combining that with obviously the original illustration card backing for Man-at-Arms. See, look at his face there. Even his face there's got a strange structure to it.
Yeah.
Like there's some massive cheekbones happening there. You know what I mean? He almost looks a bit Russian or Mongolian looking. Like it's got that very high cheekbones and large jaw, He's interesting design.
Yeah. I think it's that his nose is proportionally too small for his face.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like a pig nose almost.
Right. Yeah. And the shiny tights. Look, you see the gloss on those. Like they are really stretched thin. Like they are. That's a snappy movement as you're trying to bring those up when they start sagging in battle. Like
he's got to peel those off at the end.
That we talked about this last week. The steam,
we did.
The steam as you peel back. Like,
oh, man, I tell you,
as he slumps at the bed. Oh, Jesus!
Oh, what a day!
Oh, God! Oh. Oh.
Oh man.
And he's not even bending down to get the boots off. He's just kicking the boot off with the other boot. Like
and doing the thing with the feet where he does this with his feet.
Yeah. Degreasifying the feet.
Oh man.
Maybe gripping into the plush carpet bare skin.
Oh man. Chris says the wife dragged me to Walmart today and I saw that they have retro motu. Really?
What? Tell me more. And I bet you they're not
What?
sold in. Bet you they're not sold in Australia. So tell me more. Are they filmation based ones, or um, are they the ones that they released? Because they did release a bunch of new figures, but then halfway through the run, they changed them to look like the Kevin Smith cartoon. I was like, what is even
Right.
this? Like, I can't jive with this at all. I don't want Skeletech.
Yeah.
You know?
No. The Skeletech in the work.
Yeah, that's not interested. I can't stop thinking now. I can't think of the Man it
Looks
the
like old
visuals.
school 80s, straight from my
Oh,
childhood. Okay.
oh.
Okay.
I wonder if they're Walmart. Are they Walmart only, or one of the you watch? There'll be like $500 to buy one now. Like I remember when the classics came out. I was like, oh, cool. They got a cool Fisto. No, $500. What?
Wow.
Damn speculators grab it all the time. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah. Now we were thinking of doing some giveaways, Kenny.
This is true. So we were thinking about doing a giveaway relative to the character or IP that Will and I would be illustrating or painting at the end of the piece, right? So as an example, let's say it took us a month to knock out this Man-at-Arms. The end of the month, we give away a Man-at-Arms pop figure, right?
Nice.
or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Now the giveaways, right, would vary. It wouldn't always be a pop figure. Maybe I do a sketch card for you, right? Something to keep you guys, the supporters of the channel, titillated, if you will. Right?
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Titillated. I like it.
Yes. Word of the day. Word of the day.
We're working some stuff out behind the scenes. We're working some
Yes.
stuff out behind the scenes because look, we greatly appreciate you guys, coming out every week, to just hang out and listen to Will and I just speak erroneously.
Erroneous.
Of like different subject matter and watch us paint, right? We do have plans for the set of motu art once we're done with the full 52. Next up, we're doing Transformers G1 Transformers.
Yeah.
I'm like curating the list for that. I've got half of the list ready to go, right? Because that's the Autobots. I'm curating the list of Decepticons that we're going to be illustrating, and then we're going to go in alphabetical order. Keep words like titillated until after 11. I like it. So, it's gonna be more than what we've been doing. Ultimately, we want to expand and do more and give back to you guys for the support that you guys have been showing. And as always, it helps if you share it out. Encourage others to sub and just just hang out with us. As you guys seen, it's a good time. Will and I, we talk crap and sometimes the conversations go left very, very quickly, but
Not today.
because we're both in the educational space of this of the work that we do, we also teach and we'll go over techniques and so forth, so you can always learn something from this. Shoot, I learned something by watching Will, who is a more experienced painter than I am, You know what I mean? So this is all a part of the osmosis. It's all about, you know, the community, you know, and fans of the community. So we greatly appreciate you guys coming out every week and hanging out with
Absolutely.
us.
Absolutely.
What if you did Transformers every other project was Motu? That's not a bad idea. What do you think, Will?
I'm not sure I understand. What do you mean?
So to sort of break it up, right?
Oh yeah, righto. Yep. Okay.
So what do
we
you
can do
say?
that.
What do you say? We run through this first line of
And then we
Masters,
do a
right?
first,
You
right.
know,
Then we do a first line of Transformers.
and then we do a few Autobots, or we do some G1 Transformers to kind of, you know, break it up, mix it up a little bit. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, well, why not? You know, there's no rules. We can make the rules up.
That's right.
Rules.
I like it. I like it. So
You know, that's actually a good idea because then it will
yeah.
keep us pretty fresh. We can keep bouncing back and forward.
It's
Instead
true.
of going, I'm at number 35.
Yeah.
35.
So, I think I'm done. So I'm gonna pull the camera back a bit so you guys can see the whole thing. What I did here.
Chris Borman just gave us the trumpet. Yes.
So here it is. This is
Kenny,
my
that looks good.
manatarms. Thank you. So
jump in and give a bit of love for the Finnish Kenny Calderone. Kenny Coppertone.
Kenny Coppertone. Will Play-Doh.
Right. I get called that. That's real. That's a documentary.
Thank you, Yvette. Thank you. I'm gonna scan this up and I'm gonna post it all over the socials. As a matter of fact, why wait until I do the first 5? I'll just drop the first 4 in the Etsy store for anyone that's interested. These are all 11 by 14. As a matter of fact, let me pull out the others so you guys can see that.
What did I think you were doing 11 by 17?
No. I like keeping these at 14. I feel like
Okay.
yeah. So this was the He-Man.
Yes.
Right.
So
On a cliffside. Right. This one was fun. Let's pull out the Beastman. Here's the Beastman.
Oh yes. I still love it. It's still great. It doesn't beat my Merman that you did though. The Merman was better. I like the Merman, but that's
you
still
like
such
the
a
Merman
cool
better.
I like your Merman the best. Yeah. Remember I said I think your Merman was the best one you've done up into Man-at-Arms.
Let's pull out the Merman. Here we have the Merman emerging from some murky waters.
I just love what you did with the hip area there. It looks fantastic.
Oh, this here.
Yeah, and his little pasta bow tie.
Pushing the getting that shadow.
Yeah,
this depth here was tricky because the paint started to rip on me here, but we managed to push through it. So that's the Merman right there, the Beastman.
Oh, so good. Oh, Beth says Merman's her favorite as well.
Oh man, thank you. He-Man.
I like what you did with the boots there. How you made it fade off into like a mauvey brown at the bottom. That's cool.
Oh, this was a technique that I stole from Jim Lee.
Ah,
Yeah, he puts white ink on a napkin, on a
Yeah.
crumpled up napkin,
Yeah.
and creates little circles to make that misty effect.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. So I
Believe me.
seen him do that on the live stream. And I'm like, I'm totally gonna steal that.
Yes. It's called
And we got Merman,
borrowing.
Man-at-Arms here. So as you guys see, like with each one of these, the challenge is to do something dynamic or something that kind of like outdoes the previous one in
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form. Because like my thing is I don't want any piece that I do to feel vanilla. So like there is something that I love about all of them. I think He-Man is actually came out the smallest. Everyone else came out pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The He-Man kind of, yeah. I like panned out a little more with the He-Man.
But you kind of
everybody
had
else.
to. Like, you had to. You had a lot to fit in.
Yeah. Because the sword, the shield. But I think we could do something cool with the battle armor, He-Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But off the meds, Merman. I think he was the
Method Merman.
off the meds, Merman.
I think we called in the uncle that turns up to Christmas that no one invited. Remember we were talking about that? This turns up drunk, offending everyone. As that gets into a punch-up fight with Nana, like just hits someone's kid, just hits them.
Who invited the fish man?
We know we always had a problem. Yeah, we had a fish head and a human body. So I've grabbed mine out too. Let's have a look. I'll grab my ones out. Where are they? Beastman. I've packaged mine up so they're a bit shiny.
Mm-hmm.
That's my Beastman.
That came out gorgeous.
Just bring them up a bit so you can see it. Okay. So mine are 11 by 17.
Yeah.
In size. So that's the Beastman one. I tried really hard to try and get a kind of Frazetta-ish kind of background happening, like what he's standing on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was
No, you definitely did it.
Something I really wanted to do.
That it reads very, very well.
But the orange and blue, it was fun. It's just fun to play those two colors off together.
Right.
It's super fun. He-Man is also packaged. He's ready to go.
Very nice.
He-Man. But doing the sword was fun. I enjoyed noodling the sword.
Now see that's see, look, all of the noodling that you do, it's well worth it. Because I can see the love and the energy that goes into it, man, and it reads super good in the end.
The love noodle.
Mm-hmm.
And then Merman.
There we go.
That's the last one I did.
That's the man.
Again,
right
he's got the, I just noticed he's got the Skeletor. Anklets with the feet hanging.
Yes. Yes. They shop at the same place.
He was fun to do. Like lots of the tentacles and the water. That was nice little. But you can see everyone too. Like it's kind of
now.
It's getting a bit out of control.
I will say that your Merman is probably, it feels the most robust,
right,
of all of them. I think it could be the combination of color.
Yeah.
Right, because you got a nice, like, the play of the cool with the lemon yellow, like the way those two sort of like bounce off of one another.
When you got
and then
colors
you got
like
that splash of red.
When you got colors like that to play with, though, it's an easy win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like they did the heavy lifting for me by choosing that.
Yeah.
Yvette likes my He-Man.
Nice. No, it's a great shot. Great shot.
But, yeah, Merman was super fun because I wasn't worried about faces. Like, it's just a creature, like a creature from the Black Lagoon kind of stuff,
Yeah.
But when you compare, you can see that, like you said, it's all starting to evolve a bit.
Yes.
It's not just a little bit of background where she's starting to get.
And that's what it's all about.
Quite a bit of background.
That's
so, yeah, all of those
about.
in the Etsy store. I was just thinking, Kenny, maybe the first giveaway could be the Man-at-Arms portrait I did. What do you reckon? The little brown one. What do you think?
Okay.
And I think that'll be all right, as long as people.
How big is that portrait?
It's A5, I think it is, in size. I don't know if it's in inches.
Decent size.
I'd have to have a look.
And you guys have to check it out. Check out Will's social media, Art of Will Pladen. He has it posted on his IG. I saw it. It was absolutely beautiful, and I like Will is phenomenal, and I can't say it enough. He is the inspiration for me to even get into painting.
Thanks, man.
A lot of my work. And I look forward to doing these every week with him because, aside from challenging myself to push the boundaries of how I depict my work and compose my work, I feel like I learn a lot watching Will paint. And it's just a good time.
It's a good time, and we've been doing this for a while, even before this stream mode. It is A5 is 5.83 by 8.27 inches. That probably makes no sense why they would do it that size for you guys in America, but for us in Australia, it's half of A4. So we work in those dimensions. Yeah,
that's roughly 9 by 12.
Yeah,
like 9 by 12, 8 by 11.
That's the size of it. If you give me a minute, I'll go grab it actually, and I'll bring it up for you.
Yeah, it's guys. If you haven't seen this, it's a great piece. Like, I was blown away by it. Like, Will tends to do a lot of really nice, like portrait art, but this Man-at-Arms that he did, just all the tech that he included in the details on the helmet. It's a side profile shot. The pencil textures. It's a beautiful piece. So, I mean, he's willing to part with it as a giveaway to you guys for supporting. I would jump on it because it's that good. That I'm gonna be posting my my stuff up on my Etsy store tonight, so that as I finish these, I can upload them immediately into the shop, for you guys to purchase. But you can always like, subscribe, tell your friends to come on over and hang out with us and enjoy the shenanigans, because it's bound to go that way. Oh my goodness. There he is.
I'm back. Sorry, I couldn't get it out because it's all packaged.
No worries. No worries.
I'll try and bring it up on a PDF.
No worries.
So, do you want to talk about the conditions for getting the prize?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, follows on all the socials.
Yep.
Subs on the channels. Hey, can you draw a request? And you type my phone. Speaker broke. come again?
What was that? Sorry, I'm looking for this picture.
So, MC Lig.
What?
MC Lig. We're in the middle of an art challenge, right? where we're illustrating Masters of the Universe characters, and I was just about to explain how and when anyone could be eligible for the giveaway that we're giving out tonight, right? So I'm thinking follows on all the socials, subs on both YouTube channels, right? Give us a comment, just for poops and giggles, right? And you know what, Will? What do you say next week we do we do the wheel,
I think the wheel's a great idea. That's a good way
the
to
wheel picker. So everyone who follows us on the socials, right, and leaves a comment under this YouTube video, right, it will be automatically entered into the Man-at-Arms head sketch giveaway that we will do live on stream next Friday.
That's a great idea.
All right. And you know what? I'll even throw in a sketch card.
Look at that.
I'll even throw in a sketch card, right? So that you guys can see here. I have my own branded sketch cards. They're very thick, right? And they're always going to be one of one. I sign everything on the back, and I send these out in a plastic slab.
Nice.
So I'll do for the person that wins the head sketch. You can DM me privately. I'll do something custom for you on the sketch card and mail it to you for your charge.
Wow, look at that.
All right.
Can I interest?
Well, man, you in the family, man. You know it's nothing for you. Nothing for you.
Listen, what I'll do is I'll get it ready for next session and I'll open it up ready to go so people can see it. If you're unsure what the Man-at-Arms looks like, the picture, you can have a look on Instagram. It is on the Instagrams, and I've had it on Art of Will Play and Sue. What I will do is I'll share it in the chats so you can have a look at it. I can't seem to bring it up as a PDF without going through and doing all the stupid stuff because StreamYard does that.
If I send it to you now, Will, via Facebook, you think you'd be able to open it up?
Yeah, I reckon.
Hold on, let me pull it up. I think I can send it to you. Oh, there it is. Beautiful piece, man. Oof. So let me just crop this image. And I'll send it right over to you. Perfect. All right, here it comes, Will.
It's coming over, right. So I think the wheel's a good idea. I think that is a good idea of doing it.
Boom. Yeah, I think this way, because for all of you guys that that come out to the stream on a weekly basis, Yvette, Chris, you guys are regular here.
Andrew,
of course. Look, it's only right that we give back a little bit. You guys have been hanging out with us, and hopefully you guys have been drawing along with us, and hopefully you've walked away with some value of the knowledge that we just kind of spew out here as we nerd out about art, right? It's only right we share some of the goods with you guys.
right.
So the support is always appreciated.
All right, I've got it. I'm just going to. I might have to. I'll throw it in the chats first.
Yeah.
Can. And And it's funny, StreamYard allows you to do some things, doesn't let you do anything. It's a bizarre little setup. I know, it's weird. They won't let you put JPEGs. It's got to be PDF format. It's just some funny little things that they do. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have thrown it straight away. So I'm just going to bring it into this and just change the format quickly. And while you're filling the void with amazing rhetoric, and then I'll bring it in here.
So yeah, I think that'll be a good way to kind of set off the giveaways, and we can move forward, with some different stuff after that. It's therapeutic watching you both, and the silliness is a bonus. Well, we both actually greatly appreciate that, Yvette. That honestly, this is therapy for me as well, because I'm a little bit of an introvert. I don't hang out at bars or anything. So this is like this is almost like a drink and draw for me, right? we used to have these at the old studio space where like we would just get a bunch of beers and just sit around and just draw stuff. We would share techniques and experiences while knocking back some cold adult beverages. And painting, honestly, for me is also very therapeutic, which is why I find myself doing it more often. And like I mentioned, that watching Will do what he does, like I'm learning a lot. And it's things that that I always encourage like my students to do, right? You want to dedicate 20 minutes to an hour a day to drawing, even if it's something that's unfinished. You want to observe how other artists work, right? Because odds are you're going to see something in their technique or in the way they render their work that you can always apply to how you render yours, right? And finally, it's doing things outside of your comfort zone, which is the whole premise behind this art challenge. That it's easy to do a few one-offs, but now there's got to be a little more thought that goes into how you render the art if you're going to be working in a series. You know what I mean? So the reason why, like, you can see a little bit of an evolution with each one of these that we do during the challenge. So there's going to be a little more motion, a little more energy. The forms and gestures will feel a little more dynamic, right, as we go. So there it is. Look at that. It's beautiful.
So that's that, and the trading card are the first giveaways. Is that our plan?
Yes, absolutely. So once this is published to YouTube, you guys leave us some likes and comments under this YouTube video. Those names that appear will automatically be entered into the Wheel of Fortune.
Like I said, the Wheel of Death. The Wheel of Death.
for next week's giveaway. And we'll do it live. We'll do it live on stream.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that this way, we can get the winner's information, shipping address, and all that fun stuff, and get the work out to you.
Perfect.
But
excellent.
Will, this is an absolutely beautiful piece. Like there's so much emotion in Wheel of Fortune. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
This piece is absolutely fantastic. How long does something like this take you, Will?
I did it in an evening. So I kind of just sat down and I just had the paper there because I did the Mitor one. Remember the Mitor one I did? That's the same size. So I thought I just wanted to do a study of his face before I jumped into actually doing fully fledged Magnum PI mode live of the painting. So I thought I'd do a bit of a study for him, and I just pulled out the black Prisma and white pencil and had a play. You know, it's just nice to use that brown paper as a middle ground tone.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the whites and the black. So yeah, it's just fun. I like using the brown paper. It looks good. So does the grey. The grey paper comes up nice as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. But yeah, it took me. I was sort of just sitting there in front of the TV doing it because I didn't want to get all the paints out. So it's just nice to sit there and do some drawing. But,
absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Lean on the old portrait brain and do a nice face. So okay. It'd be nice to do a companion piece for each one as we move along.
Ooh,
you know?
True.
Like,
well, you know, time permitting, of course, because you know,
right,
we're not machines.
Contracts still being signed, you know.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, in saying that, Kenny, we're nearly at the 4-hour mark, my friend. We've gone way over today on what we normally do.
But so, you know, it's you know, it never feels like it. You know, it's always a lot of fun. So, I mean, are you comfortable rapping today and noodling during the week?
We can. Yes, Chris Foreman. It does look a lot like Tom Selleck. I looked at his face a lot, especially something like when I was seeing him in like older roles. Like I wasn't so much looking at Magnum PI, but when he was kind of older, like when I'd see him in like an episode of Friends or something, I'd look at his face and just how thick it is in certain areas and lined. So yeah, I kind of did look at how some of the light fell in his face with that. But I also looked at Kurt Russell as well, because he's got a great image with him with moustaches in movies, especially in his later films. He just did a Western a few years ago where he played an old sheriff, and that was a great reference point too. So I kind of combine those things together when I'm doing them. You know, they're a bit of a mix of different people.
I love it. It you know, it reminds me almost of Selleck when he did that sci-fi movie. You remember that sci-fi movie, that Runaway?
Yeah. Right.
It was kind of like a loose Blade Runner kind of vibe.
Just laughing at Chris's Quickly Down Under. Yeah. When you are from Down Under, that's a funny movie. It's funny. Like, as an Australian, you're looking at it and you're laughing. Yes. It's so interesting when you consider he was close to being Indiana Jones, you know, like.
Oh man.
So
what
close.
Would have that been like?
Right. It just so happened he was under contract for Magnum. That's why he missed out. Like they were ready to go with Tom Selleck.
I don't think you could have pulled it off though.
Oh, I think you might have been all right, but it's just because I've got Harrison Ford in my brain.
Yeah, but the thing about Harrison Ford though is that Harrison Ford, he looks the part, like the handsome but smart guy, like right. I can see him being an archaeologist.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean? Now, Tom, I just don't see it. Like he'd have to shave the mustache.
He's too much made for TV, isn't he? Like he just it's hard.
Yeah.
He doesn't. For me, like I look at Harrison, he's a movie star. You know, like there's just something about him. Like it's just something different.
Right.
But, I look at Magnum PI. I think maybe that's just because he's always ever done that. You know, like straight to video or made for TV.
Yeah, and I think it's also like the vernacular, right? Because Tom sort of like expresses himself a little slower, like he drags his words a little bit.
Yeah.
And Harrison, it can be snappier.
Yes. More
You
of a archaeologist style wit.
Right. Shoot. Shoot, he's on the tip of my tongue right now. Jeff
What's he-
Goldblum.
what-
Jeff
yes.
Goldblum in Jurassic Park.
Dino droppings. That guy.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like
With his,
there's
I
you
love
know
Jeff Goldblum.
there's an intellectual like rhythm to the vernacular, right? The people can pull up. I don't think Tom could have done that.
No, you're right. You're right. Although he probably would have responded to the girl with the "I love you" on the eyelids, maybe the same.
True.
But it's more he's back and forward with almost like a 40s movie star, like Humphrey Bogart, where they kind of get back and forth in dialogue very quickly, you know?
Yes, like Tom is he's too suave.
280s.
Yeah, he's way too suave. That
Yeah.
like I see him as a cop. I see him as like I could even see him as like a pulpy detective.
Yeah.
You know, or like or the way that they depicted him in Friends, like an older like Silvermane heartthrob, right?
Silvermane.
You know, like Mr. Big.
Yeah.
like Mr. Big from Sex and the City or something. But
he played good, like a kingpin type character. He's a corporate crook, you know, like a real boss of bosses. You know,
he could do that. He could do
He's
that.
He's got the thickness now, and he's got that look in his face where you could see that. You know, it's not so pretty boyish now. Like
right.
There's a bit of there's a bit of life lived. But anyway,
yeah.
I digress. Well,
but all in all, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the prize for the giveaway alongside a custom sketch card illustrated by me. So in order to enter, follow Will and I across all of our social platforms, right? The YouTubes, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, and all that fun stuff. That it's actually very, very easy. If you go to my Instagram, wild_inks_Ken, as you see it on the top of your screen there, the link in my bio takes you to everything I'm connected to. So, you know, that's one way to just, you know, get it all knocked out. And then when this live stream gets published on YouTube, give us a like and comment something in the comment section. We know who you are. We will find you. I'm kidding. We won't find you.
you know who you are.
And with that comment, you're automatically entered.
Right, there's
and
your
we'll spin the wheel live next Friday.
I'll just put your one in the chat.
Yes. Thank you, sir. And you know, with that, you'll be entered live. So I'm getting all ahead of myself. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm excited too. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And, with that, you'll be entered so that we do the giveaway live next Friday on stream, so that you know we can congratulate the winner and such.
Yes, definitely. So get on everything, like, subscribe, notify, all of those things, and be part of it. It'll be fun. And also, like, even without the competition, it just helps us out a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. There we go. Well, thanks for another great week, everybody. Thanks, Kenny. I hope you have a great one. And next week will be our live draw and Skeletor.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. All right.
And
have a good week.
have a great weekend, guys.